We are at this will be 137.
Okay, 137.
Yep.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Wowhead Weekly number 137, the BlizzCon 2017 edition of our show. We have so much to talk about today, so sit back and relax and get comfy because we're going to be here for a while. Before we get into the news, I would like to introduce my lovely co-host, Wowhead site manager, Perculia.
Hey everyone, we have such a busy show this week. We have a lot of BlizzCon coverage since we last met. We have an expansion revealed. We had the Wowhead party. We have allied races. We have old god speculation. We have a lot of things.
It's true.
So, yeah, what are we going to talk
stuff
about first? Yeah.
My cat is like really begging for this food. It's on. He's sitting right next to my face. I don't know if you can see him.
I don't know where Brightpaw is. He's
That's
like,
concerning.
He'll be back soon.
That's
hopefully.
concerning.
So
well, our notes are a little. I wrote them, which is always terrifying. That means they're in ADHD order. So I'm sorry if we skip around a little bit, but like I wrote these notes last night at like 2 in the morning.
They're kind of organized. I did a little bit of work.
Thank you,
so.
thank you. But if it's disorganized, don't blame Perk. Blame me. Blame me. So the first little bit of news that I thought would be fun to start off with is that we found out this year at BlizzCon that we would finally be able to upgrade our default backpacks in World of Warcraft. It's only been 13 years. Is that right?
I know.
13 years
yeah.
we've had that same traveler's backpack.
So the catch is that you will have to use an authenticator.
Who doesn't
back
use
in the
an
day,
authenticator?
So you need to use that, and then at a certain point in the future, hi Brightpaw. At a certain point in the future, if you have that connected, you will automatically get more default bag space, and there is the existing perk of getting the Core Hound Pup. And if you are trying to be clever and remove the authenticator, the pet goes away, and we assume the bag space will be the same thing.
Oh, I didn't know the pet went away if you removed your authenticator.
Yeah. Yep.
I
so
had no
that's pretty
idea.
harsh.
I didn't know.
I think I did that like once a really long time ago. Yeah, it's back on now. I have the pet again.
I'm gonna cough.
So,
excuse me. We also found out about the release of Antorus.
Oh yeah, that was very interesting because everyone throughout BlizzCon in their interview was like, "When is Antorus?" And all the Blizzard people would say, "Oh, we can't tell you. We'll tell you very soon." And then at one of the after parties on Saturday, executive producer J. Allen Brack told one of the BlizzCon convention goers, hashtag, that it was coming on November 28th, and then Ro from Realm Maintenance confirmed it, and this was at 1 a.m. Saturday after BlizzCon.
That is you know, and honestly, that's the most J. Allen Brack thing I've ever heard of.
I know.
So you guys are gonna like this. This is a true story. One of my guildies,
okay.
We have 2 raiding teams. We have a mythic team and a like more casual heroic team. And the mythic team, if you want to change mains, it's a really big deal because obviously they've invested a lot into everybody's character. And there's a guy who wants to change to a resto shaman, so he went around BlizzCon getting people's endorsements, and he was at the benefit dinner. And he got J. Allen Brack and Ian Hezekiah to like
amazing.
Vouch for him to play a shaman, but it's so clear that they don't know him at all because they're just saying things. It's my favorite video on the internet. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
But, yeah, I mean, J. Allen Brack is like, I can feel this guy. I can feel his tune with the elements. It's amazing. It's because they're all. It's the end of the party. They're all a little bit beveraged. It's fantastic. But not only did we learn that Antorus the Burning Throat is going to release on November 28th, we also found out that Mythic will release at the same time as Raid Finder Wing 1 on December 5th, Raid Finder Wing 2 on December 19th, Wing 3 on January 2nd, Wing 4 on January 16th, and additionally we found out that the PvP Season 5 will end and begin the same day as Season 6, which will be November 28th.
Yep.
So November 28th is a big day.
Yeah. If you're like, how do I prepare? We have a bunch of general guides up, like, Antorus loot, a special article on trinkets, the legendary items, Tier 21 armor models, spoilers about Argus. Fat Boss is creating a bunch, off the keyboard. Fat Boss is creating a bunch of raid guides for us. So, stay tuned for those very soon. We have a ton of guides up. We love doing raid coverage. We'll have the similar progression tracking with Raider.io. We will have the talent calc set up to be pulling in the most popular talents as trending on Warcraft log. So super excited for the raid.
For sure. Sorry, I just took a bite of toast. Also at BlizzCon, we saw the cover for the newest World of Warcraft book. It's called Before the Storm, and it looks a little bit like this.
Yep. We've got Anduin and Sylvanas, and we were actually given this. I think this was kind of by accident, but if you attended the con, baby, stop doing that. If you attended the con,
I don't think it was an accident. It was just kind of hidden in the bags very well.
Well, I think so. It was hidden in the bags very well, but it revealed some stuff that I think Blizzard did not want to be revealed until the opening ceremony. Because there was this prologue, and in the prologue we learned that Sylvanas is an Orgrimmar leading a victory parade after the events of Argus. She's kind of feeling out of place in Orgrimmar. She then learns that there is a group of Forsaken that's been ruling Undercity in her absence, and they don't really like her ideas to have immortality in Stormheim. They just sort of want to rot away. And then she kind of feels terrible about that because, she keeps sacrificing and doing so much for Undercity. And she thinks about all the races, and it ends with her talking to Nathanos, and they share a moment of understanding that they want to invade Stormwind in the future. And that probably explains the cover as to why we have, Anduin, the ruler of the Alliance, and Sylvanas kind of brooding for this all-out conflict. So that's what we learned about Before the Storm. And pretty heavy stuff. So, yeah.
For sure.
Also, Brightpaw keeps, turning my sound off.
I'm so interested in seeing, what books are going to look like now that Christy Golden works directly for Blizzard. Yeah. Because I feel like everybody on the teams are going to have so much more input in making sure that there's no continuity errors, and, I'm excited.
Definitely.
I'm excited about it.
I'm also excited to see something. What's up?
I'm excited for the next thing we're going to talk about. That's all. I flipped over to my notes, and I was like,
okay. Yeah, we can talk about it.
All right, I was going to say good segue is the burning of Teldrassil.
Yeah, so this is what happens after Before the Storm, which sparks the events for the Battle for Azeroth cinematic by Lord Aaron. And basically, we've learned that some members of the Horde initiate the attack on Teldrassil, and that's what causes the Alliance to retaliate and, go after the Undercity. It's really unclear what sets it up. Like we learned with the Broken Shore, how the Alliance let the Horde abandon them, but then there was more than meets the eye. Mm-hmm. So I think there's going to be something going on there. All we basically have are these two pieces of concept artwork of Sourfang and Sylvanas staring at the World Tree kind of glowing, and then Sylvanas just standing there by herself as everything goes up in flames. And there's this really interesting elf off to the side, and a lot of people are speculating it's an important character, maybe even Sylvanas' sister, because the visual placement of the elf implies that it's a meaningful character, and it kind of has Barissa's armor, and it's the only wounded elf there, and you'd think that it's not it's a crowd shot. It's there's this elf in the center that is wounded and is next to Sylvanas. I wonder what this is. So all very interesting. My theory is that the Horde faction that was disagreeing with Sylvanas was trying to initiate some war, and the faction leaders are rushing there to stop it, and it's too late. So that's my thoughts. Also, the wounded elf in the first picture is hunched over, and in the second picture is laid out very nicely, and you wouldn't be doing that if it just was an enemy. You wouldn't be propping the person up or anything. So I think it's someone that has
what's odd about it to me is that in the picture, the burning picture is the first picture, correct? And then the second
the second picture.
Okay, so the second picture. Okay, so that's not charred. Yeah. That's it before they burned it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my guess is the first picture,
and then in the second picture, she's laid out.
Right.
Maybe she died.
Yeah, or maybe it's we'll pull the arrows out and prop you up, and maybe you'll be recovering. Who knows?
It's so confusing in World of Warcraft how, we res all the time and there's all these healing spells, but then sometimes people do die. It's very confusing. It's very confusing.
And Sylvanas can also raise undead now, so it's did you not want to raise this person? All interesting.
Ooh, I wonder if that person is going to be a void elf.
Ooh, that
I wonder if that's going to tie into the new allied races.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll try to bring her back and have to use bad magic to do it.
Yeah. Also, in the first picture, the world tree has all these little yellow dots on it, and I think that could be Azerite because, as we've seen in the concept art, Azerite is, you know, it's sort of all over the place now, and it kind of has that weird yellow glow to it. So I don't know, maybe the world tree is like a conduit for all this Azerite, and people are like, they're using it incorrectly. Let's burn down the tree to stop the Azerite.
Let's blow it up.
Basically.
Let's blow it up. Well,
come on, Kat.
Aside from story stuff, there was also a super cool diorama at BlizzCon. Was your character there? Mine was not.
No, mine was not either. I was so
I think it's because I don't think we were in the pool.
Were not. Kat,
so they chose totally randomly based on the BattleNet tags of people who were at BlizzCon. But we were in a. I don't think anybody from like press or media or I think they weren't in the same pool, which was super upsetting because mine wasn't there. My sister's was though.
I learned that I think they put all the demon hunters together, which is hilarious because they all pick the same transmogs. So it's like, oh, I'm the one with the warglaives. Like, oh, we all have the warglaives. Like, you just can't find
the warglaives. That's amazing. Here, guys, let me show you some pictures of it. I didn't get to see this in person because I was super busy at BlizzCon. Shocking. But I heard it was amazing. Hold on. Here we go. It is under diorama. There it is. This took up 1,300 square feet. That's the size of a small house.
Yeah, it also won Guinness World Record for some special type of diorama, so that was pretty cool.
Largest video game diorama ever.
And if you look at the center, you can see Sylvanas and Anduin facing off against each other.
Yeah, there's more pictures of this on Wowhead.com. I just picked a couple ones to show you just the scale of how enormous it was, because it was very, very large. Moving on to the battle for Azeroth, I'm sure you guys know by now that that's the next expansion. That's the next expansion. Let me read the thing that was put out with it. It says, in the battle for Azeroth, the fall of the Burning Legion has set off a series of disastrous incidents that reignites the furious rivalry between the Noble Alliance and the Mighty Horde. As a new age of warfare begins, Azeroth's hero must set out on a harrowing journey in search of new allies. In search of new allies to determine which side will lead Azeroth into its uncertain future. I'm sorry, there was a wall of text there. It was a lot to read.
Yep.
Here, let me show you guys the. I've got the announcement thing, and then we'll watch the cinematic after. But here is the reveal of the battle for Azeroth.
My father once told me that peace was like a dream. Beautiful, ephemeral, unattainable. I didn't listen. No one listened. We've made kindling from our suffering, stirred the embers of resentment, just waiting for a single spark to set the whole world aflame. As the Alliance returns to forgotten kingdoms, the Horde seeks the might of an ancient empire. Cannot dream any longer. The time has come to call on allies willing to join the fight, to rally beneath the banners of a world at war.
I've turned off your camera. I was trying to be helpful, and I wasn't as helpful as I would have liked. Hang on, I got you. It's gonna get better.
All
Just
right.
kidding.
Can people hear me?
I was trying to turn on my video for you, and the drivers were out of date, so it wouldn't let me. And the next thing I knew, I screwed everything up. So let me you just give me a second to not be myself. How do I get rid of that? Go away, me.
So they can hear me but not see me?
Yeah, there we go. Okay, you're good. I got you back. I got perked back, guys.
Before we start, just Sass reminded me that the prize this week is a Shadow Plus. The keyword to enter is Adorbs, ADORBS, in Twitch chat. And yeah, if you have any questions, just toss them to Sass148 and we'll try to answer them at the end.
All right.
But yeah, just wanted to highlight the giveaway.
Thoughts on the battle for Azeroth? Obviously, we'll be leveling up to 120 now. You'll be able to boost characters to 110.
We got Jaina back. She's talking. I'm really excited.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff
going on. She's got her hair in a
on.
French braid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like
hair,
back and all serious. Yeah, she looks great.
She looks grown up and stuff. That resting grump face strong. But aside from what you guys just saw in that trailer, there's a ton of stuff coming in Battle of Azeroth. Max level 120, you'll be able to boost characters to 110. There'll be new social features, so you'll be able to use voice chat directly through battle.net. There'll be WoW communities, which is sort of like additional guilds. So you'll have your guild, and you can also join like, oh, I'm in this like Hunter Pet Addicts Anonymous, and I'm in this, you know, all these different groups that you can be in. There's also 6 new zones in 2 new continents. Everything is going to be scaling, so you'll have non-linear leveling to level 120. You'll pretty much level, there's actually like faction-specific continents up to 120.
Yeah, Kulturas, and then Zandalar. So like the Horde is, they get separate places to quest in, which makes sense, you know.
Being that it's a war.
Yep. So
it's a war. Well, what's nice though is that while you'll primarily be leveling on your own faction's continent, once you get to max level, it won't be like that so much anymore. You'll do both things. Stormwind and Orgrimmar will be getting some updates, including hubs for allied races. There was also some stuff involving the new Warfronts in Stormwind and Orgrimmar. The whole expansion is going to be telling the story of war from both sides, which I think is really interesting because we heard that as a reoccurring theme with the Warcraft movie, is like telling the story of war from both sides. So I wonder if that was like an inspiration for this.
Well, I just put an article up speculating about it. I was like, actually, you know, we've been hearing all this old god stuff with the Antorus, and now there's like faction stuff going on, but we're getting Queen Ashara, and there's still old god references. So
and there's all the crap going on in Silithus.
Yeah, so it's like, are we being manipulated to be all bloodthirsty, and then in, you know, 2 raid tiers will be like, oh no, like N'Zoth is,
we've been too busy fighting each other to fight the man.
Yeah, now we've gotten weakened, so I think that's what's going on, but I have no idea. I'm just, you know, talking about old gods.
So you know what I'm excited about though? Allied races.
Yeah.
So allied races are coming in the new expansion. We'll get 6 of them to start, and they'll begin at level 20. But what's cool about them is you'll actually have to unlock them by doing quests on your main characters. Like on your max level characters, you'll have to do quests to earn them as like your faction buddies in order to actually make one or boost a character. And if you do level 120 to 120, you'll get a special set of heritage transmog gear.
And it looks so cool. Like the Void Elf set looks so pretty. And you only get that if you quest all the way up. You don't get that if you boost.
Yeah, so I don't think I have pictures of all the... sorry about this. I'm making it go away. I don't think I have pictures of all of them. I do have...
Wowhead has pictures of all of them.
Yeah, Wowhead has pictures of all of them. But yeah, these are the allied races. We have the Nightborn, the Zandalari Troll, and the High Mountain Tauren for Horde, and the Void Elf, Iron Dwarves, and Light Forged Draenei. What are they called?
I'm so sad the Nightborn. So like, I get why they're Horde, because the Horde has been nicer to the Nightborn, and they have the same magic addictions, and they can sympathize, and like Tyrande was kind of rude to them in the Insurrection quest line. But, like, I'm just sad, like, my characters from Suramar, and, like, it's weird how, like, Teldrassil is both burned, and then, like, one of, like, the original Night Elf places is, like, turning against the Night Elves, and it makes me sad. But I understand why they did it, and it's also, like, the Alliance gets, you know, Blood Elves, kind of, and the Horde kind of gets Night Elf models.
But I get to be a Nightborn.
I understand. I know you like it, but I'm just like, you know, my character's from Suramar. I'm sad.
I was surprised, though. I would have anticipated Void Elves to be on. I would have anticipated a flip-flop if you had asked me ahead of time. But I'm pretty excited because I've always thought the Nightborn.
I could have seen awesome. Nightborn being like Pandaren, kind of.
A lot of people thought that.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, we got some of their racials. They have unique racials. We saw Draenei and High Mountain Tauren in the demo. We actually even the data is kind of already there for the Lightforged Draenei. So Wowhead's dressing room now, you can load up most of the options. You can load up their horns. You can load up their, you know, glowing eyes. They have unique skin tones. They have new hairstyles.
Tattoos.
They have they have back tattoos. I think even more back tattoos are coming, but you know, obviously we're not in the beta yet, so it's like Blizzard kind of stuck this unfinished data in, so we have some of it, but not all. But it looks really cool in WoW.
Oh yeah, they look awesome. And Lightforged Draenei can be warriors, paladins, hunters, priests, and mages. They have a couple different racial abilities. The first one is called Light's Judgment, which calls down a strike of holy energy, dealing holy damage to enemies within 5 yards and after 3 seconds. So it calls it down 1, 2, 3, and then it blows up. This has a 2.5 minute cooldown. It's an instant cast. They also have Forge of Light, which summons a Forge of Light, enabling blacksmithing, and then their blacksmithing skill is increased by 10. Their passives are Demon Bane, which is 20% additional experience from killing beasts, and they also have Final Verdict, which is when you die, the light avenges you, dealing holy damage to enemies within 8 yards and healing allies within 8 yards. So those are their abilities. They also have a reduction in all holy damage taken by 1%. And if you want to check them out, definitely check them out in the Wowhead dressing room because they're already available. You can see a bunch of stuff like their tattoos and hairstyles and all sorts of stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit about the High Mountain Tauren?
Yeah, so their playable classes are Warrior, Hunter, Shaman, Monk, and Druid.
Wait a second. Can we just gloat for 2 seconds? We asked for these last year at BlizzCon. This was a specific request of mine and Perk's at BlizzCon last year, and now it's happening, fam. Wheels are in motion. Continue, Perk. I'm sorry, I just got excited.
This is interesting because with the full list, when I see a lot of people asking, so far Horde, the Alliance only get the only Paladin allied race, and the Horde only get Shaman and Druid so far. So that's interesting. So it's Warrior, Hunter, Shaman, Monk, and Druid. And the racial ability is Bull Rush, and you charge forward for 1 second, knocking enemies down for 1.5 sec on a 2-minute cooldown. And the passives are Pride of Ironhorn. The mining skill is increased by 15, and you mine faster. Mountaineer is increased versatility. Rugged Tenacity, you reduce damage taken. And Waste Not, Want Not is you have a chance to loot additional meat and fish.
That's cool.
We don't know, we don't know too much about the other races, but we do know based on the official site that Void Elves and Nightborn can be Hunter, Mage, Monk, Priest, Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior. And based on various interviews, the Lost Codex learned that the Zandalari will have Druids, and their travel form is a raptor, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
Final Boss also covered that there were some difficulties, but they liked the idea of Death Knights being Dark Iron Dwarves. And in an interview I did with Method, they were talking about how they're not opposed to having classes with unique visual abilities, like customization, like Demon Hunters or Death Knights being some of the new allied races. It just has to make sense. So
yeah,
I know a lot of people would be sad if it's like, oh, 2 of the Horde races can be Druids and like no Alliance races can be Druids. Like this makes me sad, but you know, nothing is obviously set in stone. This was very early on in the process. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool that Alliance finally get like a Warlock type elf because Night Elves can't be Warlocks.
Yeah, that's true. It is surprising, though, that Nightborn can't be Druids, and that they would give Zandalari Trolls Druids if they weren't going to give any Druids to Alliance.
Right, because you guys already have High Mountain Tauren and then the Trolls, and it's like Alliance just has the 1 Paladin. So, I don't know, maybe Alliance, like maybe between the Alliance would get Death Knight to balance it out. I don't know. It's a new system. It's different. Just a few more notes on the Void Elves. It looks like Illyria kind of takes the Void Elves under her wing, and they're exiled from Silvermoon, and they join the Alliance. And, you know, as we've seen we discussed the Nightborn dialogue, the Horde were always more sympathetic of their plight, and I guess they decide to join the Horde. Although I'm wondering what they think of Teldrassil being burned out. If they're like, oh, that was a bad decision we made. Like,
maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I'm very curious about how that's going to play out.
Okay, so moving on to Heart of Azeroth. This is a system that I don't fully understand. Yeah. Let me tell you what I do understand about it. Okay. There are not going to be legendaries in the way that we know them in Legion, which I know a lot of people are really excited about. Instead, we're going to have the Heart of Azeroth, which is basically going to be an artifact item. But it's not actually an item. It doesn't take up a neck or a ring or a trinket. It is a separate thing from all of your gear. So you're never going to have to choose between your Heart of Azeroth and another piece of gear. It is an artifact quality. They're calling it a medallion or an amulet, but don't be confused. It's not a neck item.
Yeah, it doesn't go,
It's, and then we talked about Azurite earlier. You'll use this new resource Azurite, to empower your medallion and unlock latent powers on your armor, specifically your helm, your shoulders, and your chest. The powers are specific to each piece of gear, so there's no RNG involved. And also, Azurite is not a material, so you don't have to hold it in your bags. It's not like a currency. It goes directly to the item, and I don't even think you have to mine it. I think you just get like near it, and it like sucks into you.
It's also like you don't have to spend it. So it's like, oh, I'm Azurite level 20. This means that I can unlock, 4 different traits on this piece of armor. It's not like, oh, well, now I unlock 4 traits and my Azurite goes down to 0. It's like, no, it just stays at 20. So the next piece I loot, I can still, select 4 traits. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The pieces can't Titan Forge that are related to Azurite, which is good.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a little confusing, but it seems like what they did was take the best part of what we liked about artifacts and sort of adopted it so that it was a similar system and a similar thing to work towards without the RNG, without the I accidentally used my power on the wrong spec, without, what I mean? It takes all that kind of out of it, and I like that it impacts different pieces of gear differently, so it's my understanding that if you switch specs, it's just going to switch how that piece of gear works, so you don't have to level 2 or 3, or God, if you're a Druid 4. Yeah. That seems really great. Also, I feel like even though I have this mentioned later in the notes, it is worth mentioning that some things that were on legendaries are becoming talents. They're being baked into your spec. So
like we saw in Assassination Rogue, the Master Assassin Shoulders, that's now a level 30 talent.
Yeah, and I think that's really great because there were some things about legendaries where people said, man, these are like required. These are required. And and look at it was required. It was required. Do you have anything to add about Heart of Azeroth that I didn't?
Oh, yeah. Just, so also I think they try to improve upon the Netherlight Crucible. And one of the issues with the Crucible was that, it was all RNG. So you could be like, oh, well, this relic's really good, but it rolled kind of crappy utility traits. And I wish it, rolled the offensive traits. So they're saying that offensive traits will also be paired on the same, as the same item tier as other offensive traits, and the same with utilities, so you won't have to ever choose between the utility trait or the DPS trait. And there's also a lot of lore speculation about this because although the Old God Whispers, people were thinking that maybe Magni was kind of being unwittingly used because there were the whispers from Il'gynoth the King of Diamonds is made a pawn. And you're like, well, what does that mean? 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path. The Lord of Ravens will turn the key. And a lot of people were speculating that Magni was a pawn because he told Khadgar, the Lord of Ravens, to get the Pillars of Creation. And there's 5 Pillars of Creation. And then, when that was open, we went to the Tomb of Sargeras. And then Illidan yanked Argus towards us. And then, because Sargeras was in striking range of Argus, he could, damage Azeroth. So it's like, oh, Magni, you were trying to help, but unwittingly, you kind of, created this mess. So people are like, is Magni secretly corrupted? Is us collecting a bunch of Azurite a good idea? Is there something up with Magni?
Oh, that's such an interesting, I love the tinfoil. That's so, and that kind of ties into your whole, are the old gods manipulating us into, fighting each other? Are they also manipulating us into, taking away Azeroth's power? Oh, God.
Yep.
I like this. I also, this is not in the notes anywhere, but at some point, Alex Afrasiabi in an interview said that if you enjoy Vol'jin that you're gonna enjoy this expansion. I don't know what that means, but I feel like I should have wrote it down and didn't.
Yeah, so on the actually we can have a detour quickly, but on the official like World of Warcraft recap, they it's funny, I asked Squishy to write a post like an hour ago on this, so it's coming soon. TM. Let's see, where did it go? Oh yeah, so in the official Blizzard blog, it says there's also one more tale we're not quite done telling, as Horde players journey through Zandalar and commune with ancient troll lowest spirits. They may gain new insight into the fate of Vol'jin, a fallen war chief of the Horde. And in an interview with Jesse Cox, Ian Hazacostas kind of confirmed that Vol'jin's like physical body is dead, but his spirit, we'll probably see it in the future. So, and also
we thought that was happening in this expansion, but it just had to wait a little longer.
Yeah, and Thrall might be involved in having, something with Vol'jin.
I think Thrall has gone down a real annoying path. Like, Thrall used to be so cool, and now he's just like, oh, I'm like in Azeroth, but I'm not all about this, so just leave me alone. I'm with my baby and my wife now. We're like just chilling. Like, I'm over him. Like, leave him where he is. In retirement with Chris Metzen. I'm like very disappointed with him as a character these days. You know what I'm not disappointed for? But I'm Ching. Sorry. These fire segues. Island expeditions look awesome. I'm super excited about this.
They have a lot of replayability, which I think Blizzard is always pushing for, so it's not just like, oh, we created this art and we did it for 2 weeks and now we're done.
But it's so much more than that. This is more like, if you guys play Diablo at all, this is like Rifts in Diablo. Everything is randomly generated, so it's not like you're going to go back and see the same island again. Like, no matter what, something is going to be different about it, because statistically it's very unlikely you'll ever end up with the same, the same ground, the same NPCs, the same quest givers, the same treasures, the same art assets, the same props. I mean, there's so much stuff to this. So the TLDR is that you're going off, you're exploring these uncharted islands, and while you're there, you can pick up quests, you can plunder for Azerite, you can also find treasures. You do this in a group of 3, and it's this PvE sort of PvP experience. It takes about 15-20 minutes, and it's basically your group of 3 is racing another group of 3 to collect as much as you can while you're on the island.
And the group of 3 are like really smart AI robots. I think they base it on like Overwatch AI tech.
Yeah, they don't have
really
to be.
Smart.
You can either play with this advanced AI, or you can play with other players. It depends on what you choose, if you're flagged for PvP or not. But they wanted this PvE experience to mimic PvP. They said, if you pull too many, they're going to come out and punish you for pulling too many. If you have a healer, they're going to be on your healer. They'll silence you. They'll cyclone you.
It's not just like, oh, 3 trash mobs. Like, the tank will aggro them, and they'll just wail on the tank for 5 minutes. It's like, no, there could be a rogue that, when you're at low health, he will make sure to stun lock you. Or, there might be a group of trolls that are like, for Vol'jin, or Horgans that are like, we hate Sylvanas. And
we hate Sylvanas.
They'll have like different personalities and abilities, and they're kind of like super NPCs.
I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that tech being used in other things. Like, what if the trash in a raid got really smart, and it wasn't just like, oh, the tank can, sap this. What if it's like, no, like, I'm a really smart trash mob. I do what I want. And
or diminishing returns is a thing. Yeah. Like, there's so much about it that could be used in other stuff. What's funny, though, is in my interview when they were talking about this, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this was the beginning of the Omnic crisis in Overwatch. Let's teach these AI how to be super smart and murder us. But I'm excited about this because there's a lot of PvP stuff. I didn't even mention, oh my god, don't let me forget to write down, there's no such thing as PvP servers in Battle of Azeroth. I did not even write this down, but it's not a thing anymore. There'll still be RP and normal, but PvP is now a flag that anybody can turn on, and they're using sharding, like with a D, immature, to separate who is flagged for PvP and who is not. And I think these things, like these island expeditions, are a good dip your toes in the water of PvP without having to worry about, like the embarrassment and sort of tilt that can come with playing with actual players. What are you doing?
Also, the team composition is not role dependent, so you can just go into the island expeditions with like 3 healers or 3 tanks, and you can get some, good AI PvP practice before going into more PvP.
Yeah, no, it looks awesome. It looks really, really cool. I really love that they're going to be so dynamic and ever changing, because it gives them so much more replayability. This reminds me of like Invasions, sort of, but so much more than that, because there can be quest givers, there can be treasures, there can be things to like mine and herb.
Also, Muffinus was the guy doing the presentation, and like he's the guy who kind of masterminded all those secret, the secret finding things like the Lucid Nightmare and like the pugs and like the funny hats and some of the really funny mounts. So I'm sure islands have all these little wacky, quirky touches.
Yeah, like fun, flavory things for sure. But I'm probably more excited about Island Expeditions than anything else. I think they sound super fun. I also love the idea of these 15, 20-minute, like, there's not much in WoW that you can really do in 15 or 20 minutes. Even a dungeon usually takes a half hour, 45 minutes. So I also like how this is like the Return of the Mr. Pandaria scenario, because a lot of people really like them. Oh my god, I forgot about scenarios. Yeah, they kind of just went away for 2 expansions, and I'm like, oh, this is like Scenarios 2.0 on, steroids. So yeah, it's like what they wanted to. It's literally like, I feel like the last couple expansions has been Blizzard picking things from other of their games and been like, what works here? What do people like? And I feel like people love rifts in Diablo, and this is what this is. Yeah. They're island rifts with pirates and parrots and treasures. Oh my, I'm really excited about this.
Based on that feature cinematic, like Parrot Mount, I think that's coming.
Yeah, Parrot Mount looks amazing. Parrot Mount looks amazing. So another thing that's coming are Warfronts, and these are also dope. For those of you who want Warcraft 4, you're not getting Warcraft 4, but you're getting Warcraft in Warcraft.
Yeah, you're getting
Warcraftception. So these are large-scale PvE battles. It's going to be 20 players versus an NPC army. This is very, very inspired by Warcraft RTS games, and it also uses
even has the same talent path.
Yeah, it also. Yeah, it's super cool. It also has like garrison-y type features with how you're building structures and you're using farm resources and you're training troops, you're researching upgrades. The biggest difference between a Warcraft game and Warfronts is the point of view, because in Warfronts you're going to have that first-person point of view. You're part of the battle. You're not just commanding it from over top. So it's going to feel a little more immersive, I think. But yeah, I'm super excited about this. The first Warfront that we'll be releasing is called Stormguard, and it's in Iraqi Highlands. Yeah, and it's also getting a big visual update, which makes me hyped thinking about more potential visual upgrades coming. Like right now, it's kind of this city that's kind of ruined and not very high resolution, and it's super cool looking. Well, and they picked such a good place too. Like that's such an iconic vanilla place that like. And it's like the cradle of, human civilization, and like we even got some story about it in Legion with raising Taurus Trollbane. And this was also super cool. I don't know if we have pictures of this, but at the WoW art panel, they revealed a lot of these Alliance and Horde faction sets that would be coming as like these are sort of like the carrot on a stick that you should do to get if you do Warfronts ones, and they look really cool. Weapons are detailed. I'm a little confused because the Horde set is being modeled by a human and the Alliance set by an orc. I don't know if that's a mistake or not, but they look cool. So yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. So, and then in the realm of actual PvP, we've got 2 new arenas coming, one on each continent, because of course the continents are going to be faction specific. Yep. So there'll be one on each continent. There's also going to be new PvP brawls, and of course, no more world PvP in the way that we know it now. No more PvP and PvE servers. It'll all be toggle on and off. We're also getting a new battleground that's technically being implemented in 7.3.5, but we don't know if it's actually going to be playable. Yeah, they called it a preview. So it's like, do we watch NPCs going through the motions? Like, is the zone area open? Is it a scenario? Like, I'm thinking maybe it's similar to how we did the Theramore scenario for a week before Mr. Pandaria. Like, I don't know, but we're getting to something called the Seething Shore, and it's about people fighting over Azeroth, of course. So, and that will be in Silithus. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was answering a comment in the chat. 10 new dungeons at the launch of the expansion. 10. That we know of so far. There'll be Freehold, which is a pirate area of Tiragard Sound, which is the Alliance area in the new expansion. There's Atal Dazar, which is a troll dungeon. This will have undead dinosaurs. I feel like that's an important thing to mention. In addition to those 2 We'll also have...
There's Kazan, so you can actually see what happened to the Goblin area. That's pretty cool. That will be a dungeon.
Yep. We're also getting Tol Dagar, Waycrest Manor, Shrine of the Storm, Siege of Browless, Temple of Steharis, the Underrot, King's Rest, and Kazan, like Perk just said. So a lot going on in the world of dungeons. Some of those dungeons are going to be faction-specific while you're leveling, but when you're 120, they'll open up for everybody.
Another cool detail about dungeons is that Blizzard tried their very first Design a Dungeon Boss panel at BlizzCon, and it was cool because they had like members of all the WoW teams present, as well as Floopbag, to sort of be like the community voice of reason and be like, oh, like, you know, this sounds very unfriendly to Melee, like, you know, sort of like interjecting in the brainstorming.
Yeah.
And they said that, you know, based on the concept they came up with, they would then try to put that boss as, you know, as designed into Battle for Azeroth.
Oh, how cool.
And what was also really interesting was that, remember how, like, all this hype started because we found that armor called, like, Kul Tiras, the purple armor. So as they're talking about the dungeon and the zone, they're like, here are these sea priests, and, you know, they control the waves. And I'm like, wait, they're wearing that Kul Tiras armor, like, down to the maps on the side. And I'm just like, are they doing something with the old gods? Like, they're wearing armor with tentacles on it, and like this dungeon has like tentacle art on it. Like, it sounds very, I don't know, tinfoil hat. So I was happy to see the mystery of who wore that armor solved. Like, it was very satisfying how everything started with this armor, and in the very last panel of BlizzCon,
it all kind of came together. We've come full circle, boys.
Exactly.
We've come full circle. The first raid at the launch of the new expansion will be Uldir, which is the Halls of Control. There's 8 bosses.
I think it's troll themed, and it's hilarious. I don't know if you were listening at that part, but Ian was like, so, like, you know, it's covering trolls, and, you know, he's like, I tell you, but, like, you know, I don't want to deprive people of the experience of finding spoilers through data mine broadcast. And, like, everyone on the Wowhead team just cracked up because, like, that was a clever thing we started doing as part of Legion. And we found some, like, you know, big stuff through, like, the end of Antorus. So, you know, we had a good laugh. You know, we're not mad at Blizzard. They're not mad at us. And we just found that funny. But the cooler news is that we think, they said, you know, Queen Ashara, she's coming in the future. And, like, the crowd went wild.
The crowd went wild. Of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course
I think it's going to be like, so my idea is that Ashara is going to be like the Gul'dan of Battle for Azeroth, like kind of the midpoint boss, and then it will be like, I think N'Zoth's going to be the final boss because...
I made a video about N'Zoth in World of Warcraft like 3 years ago. Do you remember? And I had Pepe in the background with a tinfoil hat on.
Yes. So I think because the Hearthstone blog said that N'Zoth made Ashara into a Naga, I think that it'll be like, oh, we've killed Ashara, but now, like, you know, the King of the Sea is angry, we have defeated her, and then we have to go defeat him. So I think that's how it's going to turn out.
My cat is, like, demanding pets right now. There's nothing I can do.
Brightball's been so good. He's, like, off in the corner.
Don't say that. We still have half a video left. You crazy person. You crazy person. So, in other news, class buffs are coming back.
I know.
Class buffs, y'all.
Yeah.
So, Death Knights will be getting Vampiric Aura Party and Vampiric Aura Party and raid members within 40 yards will steal life from their targets, increasing leech by 5%. Demon Hunters will have Demon Speed, which party and raid members within 40 yards are infused with Demonic Speed, increasing haste by 3%. Druids will be getting back Mark of the Wild. This will infuse friendly targets with the power of the Wild, increasing their versatility by 3% for 1 hour. Hunters will be getting Aspect of the Pack. This will increase movement speed by 15%. Mages will get Arcane Intellect once again, which will infuse the target with Brilliance, increasing their intellect by 5% for 1 hour. Monks will get Legacy of the Emperor, which will extol the wounds of the last, the words of the last Emperor, increasing mastery by 54 specifically. Then we have Paladins will get Devotion Aura, which will increase armor by 10%. Priests will get Power Word Fortitude, which will increase stamina by 10%. Rogues will get Expose Armor, which will increase physical damage taken by your target by 5%. Shamans, unknown. Unknown.
I will address that in a minute based on an interview.
I'm ready to hear this. Warriors will get Battle Shout, which will increase strength or agility by 5% for 1 hour. Tell me what you think about Shamans. Go.
So in an interview with Annie Fuchsia, Jay Gill was talking about, they were asking him, like, what's up with the class buffs and utility? And they were told that class buffs are, like, they were brought back because people really liked them. They felt iconic. They were familiar parts of the class. They had to be cut earlier because it was getting way too complicated with, like, what spec got what and, like, a billion different things. So now every class just has one thing. And they said that it's undecided what the shaman buff is. The current idea is that every class has one, but that could change. And it's undecided if you can purge these buffs in PvP. So it seems that shaman might be on the way, but Blizzard also might be thinking about, like, maybe some classes don't have them if, like, one seems kind of boring. But yeah, it seems right now shaman buff is coming.
It would be pretty screwed up to give every single class one except for shamans.
No,
especially when shaman, didn't they used to put down, like, I don't even remember, it's been so long, but, like, didn't Flame Totem used to affect everybody?
Yeah. I just got the impression that they were like, the idea is now that everyone has them, but we're not ruling out that maybe just, like, 4 classes have them if, like, some of the abilities feel forced and not iconic.
But, like, shaman should definitely just put down a totem that, like, I don't know, when they move, it might relocate to them or something. It should be tied to a friggin' totem. I'm so sick of us not having totems. I'm a shaman. I want totems.
If they're talking about iconic stuff, I can totally see that. Also, they said they might iterate on buffs that seem uneven. For example, like, if the Warlock dies, like, you no longer get Curse of the Elements on the boss every minute. But, like, if the Mage dies, you still have the Arcane Intellect buff, and that might feel kind of not balanced, so they might see about changing that.
Do you think they would change that so that everybody wouldn't get the on-target buffs, or do you think they would change that so that everybody would lose their on-person buffs if the buff giver died?
I don't know. I think they just would want whatever seems, like, simple from an engineering perspective.
Yeah, that's fair.
I could see them being just, like, hour-long buffs. They also talked about class utility some, which was interesting. Like, I find all this class stuff really interesting because Legion had such a focus on, like, class fantasy, and then there wasn't much in the Battle for Azeroth panels, but in the demos and then in this interview, we kept learning about class stuff, which I think is cool. And they said that while they don't really have plans to revamp all the classes, they are going to target, like, the most problem ones every patch. So, like, Discipline in 7.2.5 or Feral in 7.3.
Wait, so I love this. Can I just, like, interject? Okay. I hate that every expansion, it's for the last 3 or 4 expansions, it's been like, how can we make your character completely different? I mean, Shaman have been a little bit exempt from that, but they've still tried. Whereas, like, there are characters like Moonkin. I used to main a Moonkin for 3 expansions, and I, like, have no clue. It's so confusing and convoluted, and anybody who says that WoW is easier now than it used to be, I swear to God, they have not played for all the expansions, because, like, Moonkin is a great example of they have played differently. I don't know how people main Moonkins. It's got to be so frustrating that every single time they have a new expansion out, they're like, oh, well, how can we make their gameplay entirely different from how it was before? Fun Arthas, get your tail out from in front of the camera. I'm sorry, he's so rude. He's trying to get these eggs.
My cat was trying to eat eggs yesterday too. I don't understand. But yeah, so what they are planning on doing is that they want to walk back some of the homogenization in the area of utility. So when we're playing the demo, we noticed stuff like Druids now get Hibernate and Soothe back. And the idea is that a certain subset of classes is great at a particular type of utility. And then when each class has utility strength, that can affect your, like, dungeon experience and strategy based on the group comp and utility available. And then, like, that further emphasizes, like, the power of utility. Like, I think we've learned a lot when seeing the Mythic Dungeon Invitational that it wasn't just like, DPS wins. It's like, like, if you have this cool utility, like, that can actually save the day. So I think they're trying to play that up and maybe get people thinking less about, like, my class is the best because they do the best single target DPS forever at the end. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, artifact traits, some traits and legendaries are turned into talents on the demo. This is still a work in progress, but, like, the Ret Paladin one was changed. The Fire Mage one is a talent. Assassination Rogues have the talent as well as the legendary. Seems to be a promising step. And they also talked about some classes that might be targeted sooner than others, like Shadow Priest. They feel like the long ramp up into Void form is kind of a weakness in situations like Mythic Keystone Trash, where you have to have like very short group combat, and Shadow Priests are just ramping up. And they might also be looking at Surrender to Madness, which I find hilarious because one of the Wowhead writers, Anshlin, was walking around BlizzCon with a gigantic sign called Buff Surrender to Madness. So the devs addressed his sign and they covered it in the interview.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, yeah. Miscellaneous changes happening in the new expansion is that upright orcs will be available in Battle for Azeroth. Do we know any more information about that? Can you still be a hunchy orc? Yeah, so they're going to be able to change it in the barbershop. I guess they'll be like a chiropractor. And sort of as a side note from that, the Zandalari troll subrace is also, upright trolls. So it seems like, they've discovered this tech to affect posture, and now they're able to, apply it to multiple races. So that's pretty cool. So does that mean that regular trolls will be able to be upright too, or just Zandalari trolls? I think just Zandalari trolls, but I think it's cool that, they can use this tech in multiple ways, to like make Zandalari trolls enticing to do, but also give orcs the ability to, become upright like Thrall. So yeah, I'm glad about that. I feel like all the hunchy classes was getting kind of old, and I didn't see the point of it. It's also worth mentioning that because we're getting the 6 allied races, we'll also be getting 6 new character slots per server. Yeah, that's a ton. Also, they mentioned that Warlord's time walking would likely become a thing in Battle for Azeroth, which is exciting. I think that's cool because like there were so many in quest to go do a Warlord's dungeon and get like a cool pet or toy for the first time, and maybe a lot of people don't know about that now, so that could be an incentive to go back and do those quests. Sure. Well, I'm into any time walking though. I'm not that I'm personally super into it. I like any system that makes old content less obsolete. Yeah, I agree. So like I don't see why they wouldn't have time walking for at least one raid per expansion and the dungeons for each expansion, because why make them obsolete? Why waste all that effort? Mm-hmm. We also found out that flying in Battle for Azeroth will work very similar to the way it did in Legion and Warlords of Draenor, so it'll be like a big long achievement quest thing. Oh my god, do you hear that? I know. Like, I'm like, that is being so well behaved in comparison. Oh yeah, no, it's not. It's not my cat. I still have an air conditioner in my window because you know how New York is. It can't decide. And it like just started like downpouring, and like the wind is whistling through the air conditioner. It's scary sounding. You can opt into the beta now too if you're interested in playing the beta of Battle for Azeroth. You can opt in now. And then I feel like on a lore standpoint, you should talk about Jaina and Anduin. Oh, so we learned that in the Q&A, it was addressed that Anduin is not a paladin. There's a lot of speculation that when he, picked up his father's sword and it started glowing light, that, he moved from a priest to a paladin, and like he's now a man, and like he melees with the holy power of the light. He's now a man! He now wears plate, like he's stronger. No, I just keep joking, and it's not a funny joke, but he looks so much like a young Brad Pitt that I've renamed that cinematic Light Club. The first rule of Light Club is don't talk about Light Club. That's amazing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm like this. I genuinely am. No, like, Anduin is funny. But... Side note, do you guys want to watch that cinematic? Oh, yeah, we should do that. Yeah, we'll watch it, and then we'll talk more about it. Also, like, Anduin is, like, very attractive in this, and it makes me feel things that I don't understand. This is the cinematic. Ready, go. Yeah.
Ours is a cycle of hatred. Alliances forged and broken. We have paid the price for sharing this world. And we have forgotten what makes us strong.
Close ranks! Advance has won! Lordaeron will be ours!
My king,
We have her cornered.
Keep firing!
That's the best cinematic World of Warcraft has ever put out.
Yeah, that was super
The
impressive.
animation in it is, it's mind-blowingly good. Like, the animation is absolutely phenomenal. I also really enjoy, there's like this it's not a verbal exchange. What is my cat doing? He's like going ballistic in the background.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, and he's not doing anything wrong. It was just bizarre to see his head keep popping up. But they have this little non-verbal exchange where after he, puts the bubble up and everybody gets res, he like makes eye contact with Sylvanas and is like for the Alliance, and he says it like while smiling because he clearly feels like he had this little victory, and her response is this sort of like game on smirk. But like, it's weird because their whole approach to the war before that moment is very gritty and emotional, whereas Sylvanas seems angry and she seems ragey. It doesn't seem like he has this sadness about him. Like, he has this like, we're at war, things are terrible, people are dying, and she is just like, I'm gonna mess you up. Like, their reactions to this are so different, but then when they have that moment, it's like they're feeling the exact same thing, and it oddly doesn't seem like it doesn't seem nearly as angry, I guess, or something as it should. Like, it almost seems like they're playing a sports game or something.
Like a breath. Also, when you're talking about Sylvanas and emotion, that got me thinking. So it's like, oh, you know, the undead, like, they don't have feelings, they don't care about do things, like, they're too cool, you know, and it's like, she was showing a lot of emotion.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, yeah, like, so it just starts, and her appearance keeps changing, too. Like, she, I don't know, she kind of looks, like, more alive and, like, less rotting, and, you know, her hair is getting more colorful, and, like, her face has all this makeup on it. I don't know, this is making me think, like, I don't think, you know, she's becoming human, but it just makes you wonder if,
they're
like,
definitely
she's undergoing
humanizing
some
her.
evolution. Yeah,
whether
like,
it's just a visual thing for your subconscious or whether it's literally happening in game, she definitely seems much more human.
And like, she actually has feelings. You know, like, she is really caring about the Undercity.
She feels these shakes, and she makes the connection that big cannon ball, whatever those things, catapult needs to be dealt with. But, like, she does it in a way that she's mad. She's mad that they're firing at her in the first place. And, like, it almost makes me feel like they're retaliating based on what happened at the Broken Shore and the events after that, when truthfully the events at the Broken Shore were a misconception. She did not betray them. That is just how they perceived her actions. Right. And her little, like, smirks and her holy, this is a game attitude feels very much like she's waiting for them to realize that. Like, she seems a little more, like, if this was a big tinfoil hat, like, where the old gods are manipulating everybody into a war, she seems a little more keen to that. She seems, like, ready to be like, you idiots, why are we fighting?
Right, or it's sort of like, well, like, if you guys want to do this, fine. I also think she's trying to psych herself up because, like, you know, like, the Undercity means so much to her, and, like, that's why she keeps fighting to, like, make things better, immortality. So I think that maybe she's actually kind of nervous, and she's kind of like, okay, I gotta be a badass and, like, pretend that, like, what Anduin did was sort of like, okay, no big sweat, like, you raised them all, like, you know, now things are kind of, you know, not great for me. But yeah, I also like the symmetry. So, like, for the first half, you have, you know, Sylvanas, and she shows off her new ultimate, you know, her, like, void banshee thing. And then, you know, for the second half, it's all about Anduin, and you see him, you know, in combat, and then you see him decide to go back to his healing roots, and like each faction got their moment, you know, in the sun. It was also kind of sad. Like, I mean, you know, like, Anduin was all like, "Oh, I'm about peace," and it's like he obviously he's not, you know, being a badass mowing people down, but it's like, you know, he's using his healing on the battlefield now. He's not using his, like, peace and love of healing, you know, with diplomacy. So it's sad he gets pushed into this war. I guess.
The whole situation is very emotional, and I love that you see that Sylvanas is inspiring her people. Like, you know, Sarfang gets, like, riddled with arrows, and, like, she does the whole, like, I'm turning into a banshee, I'm just wrecking people. She's scary. Yeah. You know, and then, like, that kind of gets everybody amped up, and I love the visual of, like, the troll is the shaman, and he's breaking the ground, and lava is coming up, and, you know, Sarfang is, like,
Greymane is very fluffy.
Yeah, and, like, the Tauren is, like, plowing through people with his horns, and Greymane is beautiful. Like, it kind of, when you see that, it's understandable why when the Warcraft movie people came out, people were like, why did they not just animate this? Because the animation is just so phenomenal. What they're capable of is so phenomenal. Oh my gosh, it's Kitsuki. I just looked over at chat and it said Greymane is a very good doggo. And it made me giggle. It's Kitsuki. She's a guide writer.
Except he got in the way of the lightning bolt and had to be res, so he's not very graceful.
He tried. He was trying to be a good doggo. But yeah, I just think it was an amazing cinematic, and I think it would make either side feel proud to be on their side. And I think that when you're talking about the subject of war, the fact that you could show the same video and either side would feel that same way, it says a lot about how much nuance was put into that.
Right. Although, I don't know, I mean, after we saw the cinematic before we I forget the order, but, like, knowing that Teldrassil was burned down for the cinematic makes me
we did not know Teldrassil was burnt down.
It makes me less sympathetic to the Horde, being like, oh, like if we saw this tree blowing up and the Horde cheering away.
We still don't know the situation as to how that happened or why, though. I mean, that's all very speculative. And like, honestly, with Sylvanas sitting there watching it burn, hold on, let me pull that image up again, because I don't feel like her posture, sorry, I'll stop this. I don't feel like her posture to me says, I just burned this down. To me, her posture, like they're going up, they see it all together. The wounded elf is off to the side, and when you see her, that looks like a surprised posture to me. I don't feel like, I don't know that Sylvanas is responsible for this.
Yeah, it just makes me not really love the Horde if it's like, well, someone in the Horde did this, so I'm sort of like, I don't know if I want to buy the statue. Let me see how this actually plays out.
I don't know. Her posture to me doesn't say like, I just did a thing because I'm proud.
And like I also feel she'd be a lot closer, like in one of those ships, because like that's a really long way to set something on fire.
She looks shocked. Like, I'm gonna sneeze.
Yeah. I kind of feel like everyone's like, oh, we won, we're gonna party, yay, and she's sort of like, this is bad. I'm just standing here like, I can't change this. I'm just sort of frozen in shock. That's how I'm reading it, but I don't love knowing that members of the Horde were supporting this burning, and now they're like,
we don't know what the situation there is, because every group of people in the world, whether it's a group of people you would consider yourself to be aligned with or opposing to, every group of people has outliers that do things that don't represent the rest of the group. And like,
but I feel like burning, like, that's a big tree surrounded by water. So I feel like a lot of people had to band together to burn the tree.
But we don't know who they were or why they did it. That's yours.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just, knowing that kind of colors my, I don't know. It's just knowing that some of the Horde was involved was sort of like, it just changed things knowing that. But yeah, going back to the notes, we were talking about Anduin before that, and that's why people were like, oh, like, is Anduin a paladin now? Like, look, he's meleeing with a sword. And the answer was like, no, he's a priest, but he's like a hero priest, so we can do special things just like Sylvanas does special things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were sad.
Okay, very last thing about the expansion before we move on from expansion stuff is that there will be a stat squish.
And it's also an item level squish for the first time, so like, your legendaries will be, where did the post go? So like your legendary, if it's like item level 1000, will be item level 335. So like everyone, when the item level goes down, like you basically have 16,000 health in the demo. This was also cool because Fat Boss asked Ian about this at Gamescom 2017, and they were talking about how the concept of item levels had to be normalized back then. So it's interesting. I think it's a good change, so you don't have, item level 2,000 and then feels meaningless.
My cat is just completely eating my leftovers. And he's very loud. Like, if you hear smacking, it's my cat, and I'm sorry that he's really rude and has no manners.
I like how Brightpaw is like, I'm very good today.
I'm good today.
Not be on the show.
We also found out stuff about patch 7.3.5, which, just to be clear, that's not the patch coming out on November 28th. November 28th is a separate patch. 7.3.5 is going to be probably our next pretty bulky patch, our last bulky patch before the expansion. And earlier we talked about that a new battleground would be coming. It's called the Seething Shore, and it's going to be off the coast of Silithus. While it is coming in 7.3.5, it's possibly not going to be playable in 7.3.5. They might just be putting it in there. There'll also be updates to Silithus. And the whole battleground has like story involved as well. It'll be tied to the wound in Silithus. We're gonna learn
the Azerite.
Yeah, we're gonna learn more about Azerite. So we'll see what actually happens with that in the next patch. But what is definitely coming is Ulduar Time Walking, which I'm super excited about. And I did see some comments. People were confused as to why it wasn't ICC. And I think that Ulduar, as much as like ICC is a well-loved raid, I think Ulduar is one of the most iconic raids.
I also think with the whole like Titan old god build up with like Antorus and like the actual Titans in Antorus, it makes sense to it makes sense to cover Ulduar, which has like Yogs are on, and
For
then
sure.
like it was the prison for some of the Titan Keepers. So I'm still excited about it. I have a few questions though. Like Black Temple Time Walking, people were saying was taking a while, and like Ulduar is a really long instance. Like it's going to be like a multiple day thing. So I also wonder if there'll be an achievement like if you got the Warglaives, you could get an achievement to transmog them. So I think maybe like the healing mace, they'll do something for that. I'm curious if there'll be like more toys, or if like, you know, Demon Hunters get a special Ulduar set. And yeah, I think one of the interviews, why am I blanking on the name? I should know this. I think maybe Polygon or PC Games, they were talking about how you could do some of the hard modes in Time Walking, which would be hilarious if you could hit the big red button. Yeah.
Whoa. So for those of you guys who did not play in Wrath of the Lich King, Wrath of the Lich King was the first expansion to introduce hard modes, but it wasn't actually heroic and mythic the way that we have it now. You'd go in on regular difficulty and you had to meet certain requirements and it would trigger the hard mode. So you had to do it within a certain timer, or maybe you had to leave one boss, like one piece of trash up, or there were all these different things that would trigger the hard modes. And then there were also limited numbers of pulls as well. Like I know there was one boss that I think you got 10 pulls a week or something like that. 20
yeah, that was Algalon, and you only got an hour of time.
An hour, that's what it was. Yep. So there were all these different things that went on with hard modes, and I remember specifically like, okay, so that was my first expansion where I was really raiding kind of like seriously. And I remember Nico having a full frost resist set for the Ice King. I can't remember what his name is. Yeah,
that reminds me, like, there's like different loot on 10 versus 25. What's gonna drop?
Yeah,
like they were really different.
I have to assume that it would be. I don't know. I don't know.
Like and they have like different transmog options. And I remember, I mean, I'm sure it's different, but like back in the day, like most of the 10-man loot had like armor penetration for rogues, and like you had to have a full armor penetration set, and you know, like I would be running 25 hard modes, but still doing 10 every week to get my better gear. So I wonder what loot will be where they'll just put all the loot on the table.
I don't know. I'm excited to see how many more. I'm excited to see people go back and do like the what's the name? Is it Yogg that drops the head of Mimiron?
Yeah, Yogg, the final boss.
I'm real excited to see people go back who did not do Ulduar and just deal with Yogg.
Yep, I am
too. With that. Have fun with that. That was a tough boss. Ulduar in general was a tough raid. Like, if you didn't do Ulduar back in the day, I think it's a hard raid to go back in solo. There are certain things that you still need to, like, understand mechanics in order to do it, even if you're doing it solo. So I'm excited to see how
it will be interesting.
Yeah. Also, the best thing coming in 7.3.5, which I am so excited for, are leveling improvements. Scaling tech will be implemented in old worlds. The zones will have caps, so some of them will be like 10 to 60, some of them will be 40 to 60, but the content will scale to any players within that range, and it will be dynamic, so you could have like a 40 and a 52 in group, and they're both going to do meaningful damage and get meaningful experience. Starting zones will be 0 to 10. Classic zones will be 10 to 60, although some of them will be like 40 to 60 or 30 to 50. It'll depend on the zone. BC will be 60 to 80. Wrath of the Lich King will be 60 to 80. Kata will be 80 to 90. And then I think
same with the Pandaria.
Yeah, Mist of Pandaria is also 80 to 90.
Yep. So there's like, you can have BC or Wrath is like one option, and then in the next band is Kata or Mist as the next like story option.
Yep. So I just love this because a lot of people criticize me because I don't often read the quests when I'm questing, and the reason the reason that I didn't read the quest while questing was because I often would outlevel the zones and I didn't finish the story ever anyways, so it never felt worth getting invested. Like that was a sit down conversation when I first started playing WoW way back in 2007. And I was running around questing. Nick came over and he's like, all your quests are gray. Why are you still questing here? And I was like, I haven't finished. And he's like, yeah, but you have to move on and to get experience. I'm like, but I have to finish. Like, you don't, but I have to finish, you know? And that's always, and that was kind of at the point when I was like, well, there's no point in reading the quest. If I'm never going to finish the story, what's the point of starting the story? And I've gotten a lot of criticism for that over the years. And this is one of the best changes I think that will ever be introduced to World of Warcraft. I'm so excited for this. I cannot wait. Like, I'm concerned for my guild that they're going to have a Resto Shaman once this hits, because all I'm going to want to do is play alts. All I'm going to want to do is play alts. Like, it's going to bring
it also ties in for the allied races, because, like, you know, they need to have that smooth leveling experience so they can feel fun actually leveling. So, I'm excited to level some allied races with this revamp thing.
What are you doing over there, Tychus? Dog cam. He's being really weird. He's just rolling around on his back. I don't know, man. My animals are all going ballistic. It's the rain. It's the rain. But yeah, I'm super excited for the leveling improvements, and I was shocked to hear those would be coming before the expansion.
Yeah, I mean, that almost makes me wonder if the allied races are coming before, if, like, they want to get the scaling tech done in 7.3.5 and then have the allied races in, I don't know, 7.3.7. But, you know, they were like, oh, the zone scaling is to help with the allied races. So it's like, well, maybe, you know, I don't know if they're tied together or if they're just rolling stuff out in advance. But yeah, I'm always up for seeing.
I would think, though, that in order to do allied race, well, they did let Demon Hunters come out early, though. Right?
Yeah, they
Demon
came out like a month early.
So
yeah.
It might be one of those things where, like, a month or 2 weeks beforehand, you would get a little starting.
Exactly.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so a little bit of time to level up some of those races. So when the expansion hits, like, that allied race is already 110, and it's not like, oh, everyone's in the new area, and I'm like level 20.
Yeah.
So
Blizzard, if you're not considering this, listen to the woman. She knows what she's talking about. We're not going to get too into talking about Classic WoW, but obviously World of Warcraft Classic servers were announced, but we have, like, nothing to tell you about them, which is why we're not going to talk very much about them. We don't know anything because it's extremely, extremely early.
Yeah, they opened up hiring, like, yesterday.
Yeah, they're hiring people to work on this. They want it to be a Blizzard experience, which means it needs to be a polished product. They're playing around on an old internal build, but it's not anywhere near what people would get on live servers. They gave no indication of a release date. And just looking back, what I did was I looked at Heroes of the Storm as an example, and hopefully it will not take this long, but Blizzard Dota was announced in, what, 2010? 2009? And they had a playable demo the year that it was announced as Blizzard Dota. Then they had to change the name. It was a whole thing. They changed it to Blizzard All-Stars. They changed the name again to Heroes of the Storm, and it didn't actually come out until, I want to say, 2015?
Yeah, they re-announced it at 2013, so it definitely has not been around for a while.
Yeah,
and
if you're talking about, they made this announcement with absolutely no footage to show us, no demo playable, no examples of anything. We're super early in development. I would say, if I had to guess, purely speculation, minimum of 2 years before those are actually out.
I could almost see this as, like, a thing that people do when it's like, okay, Battle for Azeroth is winding down, and, like, don't you want to see Teldrassil before, like, the World Tree is on fire? Like, go on to this server. So I think that's gonna go, but, you know, like, I ask questions, you ask questions, like, everyone.
And
asks
I just
questions,
asked, and, like, people in the comments of my video were like, "Why did you keep asking?" And I just figured maybe I had 4 or 5 questions on Classic. I thought maybe they'd answer one. Like, I would rather ask and have them say "can't tell you" than not ask and have that be a bit of info that they could have given. But we really just don't know much, other than it's gonna be an authentic vanilla experience. It doesn't sound like they're really going to be adding much. I don't even know what they'll fix as far as, like, bugs and stuff, but definitely stay tuned. Wowhead is going to have a classic site.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, bring that.
Can we call it, like, Wowhead Vintage?
It's probably going to be, like,
Wowhead.
Probably something like classic.wowhead, just because, like, I know people were like, oh, have it be old school, but it's like, don't you guys want, like,
a
news alert when, like, a holiday goes live? You know, like, you know, a guide? Like, I'm sure all the live players that will be trying this for the first time will be like, we want a guide explaining, like, how professions work, or, like, what is resistance gear. So it's nice how
current WoW the authentic experience to not have any help whatsoever.
But, like, Wowhead still has a lot of, you know, classic comments that still are upvoted and around.
I agree with you entirely. You know, I'm being snarky, and I'm trying to keep it contained, but it's.
I think it'll actually be really. I think it'll be actually really good for the site because, you know, with the current game, it's always like, oh, Blizzard introduced this, like, now part of Wowhead is obsolete, or, like, this tool is broken, and the PTR broke part of the site, and now we gotta, you know, update 50 guides.
Well, and Wowhead Classic will be dope too, because once you guys get it all up and going, there's really nothing you have to do from then on out.
And it's cool because that was an era before Blizzard had, like, the dungeon journal and, like, their armory, which had things like, you know, drop rates or boss abilities, and, like, that's how Wowhead got to shine. So it's like, oh yeah, we got all that up already. Like, people, you know, like using Wowhead for that. So it seems really cool how that can you know, have its moment in the sun again. So I'm excited for it. Neri, who writes our weekly like WoW history articles, I think she wants to do like a classic spotlight. So like, you know, Corrupted Ashbringer, you can't get it now, but you can do this in classic, or you know, like the ATS quest line. So I think that'll be fun. I think people will like a little, you know, hype or nostalgia trip every week.
I'll be interested to see if anything links to your account. So if you go back and you get ATS, or if you go back and like you get like any of the titles. That was what I had asked at my interview, was because there were all those titles like Gladiator and Scarab Lord and like all of those that are not gettable anymore. So like,
I wonder how like the opening of the AQ gates will work. Like, is there going to be like a little race with the servers? Is there going to be
are they at any point are they going to? Because like at some point, like I mean, are they really only going to have that event one time?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's just like weird. Like I get it, but I don't get it.
Open at the same time. Like, I don't know. Oh, you know, like you could do Blackwing Lair or Nax Rabbit. So it's like, well, like Nax is cool. You know, it's. I wonder how that's all going to work. But yeah, they opened up hiring 2 days ago, so they have a lot of questions to answer as far as a vision before they, you know, start addressing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard for me. I feel like I'm excited for the novelty of it, but I just can't imagine just going and playing a 14, 15, who knows, 16-year-old game at that point just forever. That's what you want to do forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I wonder. I mean, like Blizzard has so many teams. Like, I wonder if it's like, okay, you know, they can set this up. It's great for archival purposes. Maybe they've got some tech out of it that can help them. Maybe they have tech somewhere that can help them like set up, I don't know, like archive other expansions better for the future as things change, or I don't know, help with phasing. So, you know, I'm sure this has value to them. It makes sense.
I'm sure. There's a lot of people who are super, super excited. Yeah. And like I said, I'm excited to try it. But like part of what I personally, and I think what a lot of people like about World of Warcraft is that there's no point when you're done. That's not the point of the game. You're like, as soon as you get really good gear and you're done, there's probably something coming out to continue your mission, or to, you know, whatever that is.
Maybe they'll have like Diablo seasons. I don't know. I'm just like thinking of crazy stuff now.
Yeah, no, but that's, to me, that makes more sense than just, it's just this way forever with no, like.
Oh, I have a crazy idea, like hardcore, like hard mode.
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, when your character dies, like in Classic WoW, like a certain number of times, it's like gone, and you have to start over that season. That will probably not happen. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to come back. I remember, you know, we're talking about Teldrassil being blown up, and, you know, always playing a Night Elf. It's super sad when Darkshore was, like, wrecked by the Cataclysm. So I remember I took all these pictures before the Cataclysm hit, and then I lost all of them, and I was super sad. So I'm sure I'll have fun now and then, just, you know, like, having my character wander around all the pretty zones, do the Scepter quest again.
And I definitely, there's so many things about it I would like to go back and see. Because I remember one of the very first videos I ever did, if you guys go on my YouTube channel, I want to say it's like the second or third video I ever made, was patch 2.3, when they updated Druid forms.
Oh, so yeah,
I have all these pictures like comparing, which I edited in Windows Movie Maker, comparing like the old like boxy big fang cat forms with like the new cat forms, which by the way they've been redone again.
Yeah, that was it
2010, I think. 2000 like
no, it happened later, like, because it's like it was later.
They did them again in like Mists of Pandaria or Cataclysm, but I remember one of the very first or second videos I ever made was called "The New Druid Forms Are Hotter Than Pants." So cringy. So cringy. Oh god, 2010, please change, please always change. But yeah, so it like in those aspects, I want to go back and see it. And I didn't play in vanilla, but my husband did, and you know, he tells me about the glory days all the time. Actually, he doesn't. He is actually the first one to point out.
I can tell you, I was there.
I'm so glad that they changed these things. That's the thing Nick says all the time. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I would think that after a year or 2 years or 3 years, like I can't imagine not wanting an update ever. Like
well, maybe it's sort of like, oh, you can still play through like StarCraft 2, like it's there, or like Diablo 2 exists and it's there, or like Warcraft 3 exists. So
yeah,
like if they don't have to maintain it, it's like cool, there's product out, and
Yeah.
If you want to play it, it's there, and if you don't want to, it's not there. And I almost wonder if they're going to take the technology that they're using to like preserve classic WoW and use that to have like snapshots of other expansions.
That's what I asked that question too. Like, do you think you'll do other servers? Because like the thing
I don't think they'll do it. I think that like just for their internal tech to be like, we have a record of our game from 2017. Like, I think maybe just for internal purposes, like they could be using this technology to help them as they develop future stuff.
Well, one of the things that I'm really like curious about is how they're gonna handle, like I said, like cross account type things, and like, will you be able to say you level all the way up to 60 and you get all your gear and you do everything? Are you gonna have the option to transfer off of that server if you would like to actually?
Oh, because back in the you couldn't leave that server.
Yeah, there's just so many things that I just have
like, how do you pay for it? What patch will they?
Well, that was
like,
confirmed.
What's a bug they keep?
JL and Brett confirmed that it would just be like a server selection, so it'll be like NA, EU, Oceanic, Korean, Classic. That was my understanding, that it would be part of your $15 a month subscription.
Oh, because I thought in other interviews they're like, we don't know yet. So
maybe it depended on who you talk to. Maybe some people didn't know.
Yeah, I feel
but
like
I didn't make that up. I heard that somewhere.
No, I feel like a common theme of this BlizzCon was like a lot of people asking the same questions and getting different replies.
So basically, we need to ask J. Allen Bracht things at parties. That's how you get answers, is you ask Jab at a party. Because I definitely, I know it was J. Allen Brack who said it would be part of your $15 a month subscription.
Yeah, like with the Worgen and Goblin stuff, I asked them at 1:30 p.m. being like, hey, so Worgen and Goblin, like allied races, like they look so cool, but like what about the other races? And they're like, oh, like no plans on the expansion. And then at the Q&A, they're like, so we won't see them in the expansion, but we're actively working on them, and like some are great, but the female Worgen isn't, and it's like, guys.
Well, and in my interview too, I asked like, will you ever do other future allied races? And they were like, oh, definitely, just not this expansion, but this is the thing we definitely want to do. This has opened so many doors. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pumped to see, but then again, I like, this is why it's hard for me to talk about Classic, because I'm excited for the future. I like want to know what happens next, and I know. I think a lot of the nostalgia of those games, like, if you asked me right now, what was your favorite expansion? Probably Wrath of the Lich King, but it wasn't because of this raid or that piece of gear or this piece of technology. It was because I was really close with my whole guild, and we were all friends, and you would log on, and you would get onto Ventrilo, and you would just sit and, you know, shoot the breeze.
I also feel it's like a time of your life, like in Classic and BC. It's like, oh, this was so much fun, it was the best, because it's like, you know, some things outside of WoW weren't really great for me, and it's like, oh, like, you know, in game, it's like I did this grind, and then, like, I got this awesome thing at the end, and, like, I felt motivated, like, I put hard work in, and it worked out, while in real life, I'm banging my head against the wall, feeling frustrated if things don't work out, and it just felt very, like, you know,
I was unemployed for a lot of Wrath. I was unemployed.
WoW was, like, super cheap entertainment, like, $15, you know, $15 for like a month.
And you're not going out to bars, you're not going anywhere really. I like remember saying to Nick in either end of Wrath or early Keta, I was like, what do people do who don't play WoW? Because this is all I do. I come home and I talk to my guilds, and I do my auctions, and I do my dailies, and I raid, and sometimes I do PvP, and here's all these things that I do. Like, what do people do? And at the time, like, it's like you said, cheap entertainment. Like, at the time, I was living very paycheck to paycheck. Like, it was more like, which bill are we going to pay late this month? Because we can't afford to pay them all on time. So, like, without something that costs $15 a month, like, what was I going to do with myself? I didn't have the money to do anything else. So, that's why I think it's really hard to consider, like, nothing, it wouldn't matter if it was a Wrath of the Lich King server. It's not going to bring me back to that place. And I'm aware of that. So, I don't know. Yeah. To the person who's singing Jay and Silent Bob in chat, you're my hero right now. As far as other fun BlizzCon things you might have missed, the Wowhead party went very well. Yay! And I have like all these ideas for next year that like we're going to talk about, and I think it'll make the live stream even better. Because one of the problems, all right.
Oh wait, talk about the good stuff first.
Yeah, no, it was all good. I mean, everything went really well. I only ran into a tree one time.
We had patches. We had pins. We had 2 claw machines instead of 1. Dari from Method put together this fabulous VIP autograph area that had like 3 times as many people signing as last year. We actually had a break to sign stuff. We had like cool posters and, you know, things to sign. We had an awesome prize wheel. We had photo booth with props.
We had a professional stream team too, so the stream was like really high quality.
And that was good. Yeah, we had a co-host. You had Jari from Method. We had cosplayers on the stage. There's a lot of really positive growth, and a lot of the people that were super happy with the party.
Yeah,
we do have ideas to make it even better.
Yeah, next year, one of the things that I sort of identified while I was there on the fly was that what would make the live stream better would be seeing more of the party. But the problem is, if you at the point where we were, if somebody left the stage was just empty, and there was this crowd of people sitting in front of an empty stage, so it felt like you kind of had to stay up there and entertain people. Yeah. So I was thinking, like, maybe next year we'll put something else up on stage, and the host will be more wandery. Like, maybe the host will spend 75% of the time on stage, but then go do the claw machine and go.
Yeah, or like the autograph booth could be closer, so it's like, hey, you, just like, we'll talk to you as you're doing autographs.
Exactly.
And
then it wouldn't be so like, oh, we lost this person, we lost that. I just think that we could incorporate the people that are watching at home a little better.
Yeah. Another thing we want to do is like, so like people really love the prize wheel, and I think the prize wheel needs to like level up and become like several mini prize wheels to like diffuse the line. And maybe Sass was he's like, maybe they can be like electronic prize wheels, so they just like spin themselves, and like my arm doesn't get tired, and we just have a bunch of them spinning. So yeah. But yeah, we have a year to plan.
Yeah, we already are putting in. I feel like having Derry makes it so much nicer too.
I know.
In previous years, it was me and Perk just running around like crazy people from the time we started planning the party to the moment the party was over, and it was just madness. And this year, we had so much help from Derry, who, if you aren't familiar, is the community manager for Method. And she really helped a lot, and I really appreciated her help a lot.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Because it took a lot of weight off of everything. The only time I feel like there was 2 reasons I got stressed for the whole party. First one was that last year on stage there was a table in front of me. With like a sheet or like a tablecloth over it. So I wore a skirt and did not realize that I would be walking the stage, and was sort of in a panic until I found some shorts.
And then the second thing,
And then the second thing was I like overheard Perk and Derry talking about them not letting Asmongold in the party. And I was like,
oh, he's meant to
I'll take care of this. And I started running full speed and just ran into a tree. Trying to let Asmongold in, and by the time I got down there, he was in with a wristband, so I like injured myself for nothing. And then the next day, so that was day 1, and I had this, anybody who saw me, it was actually this side of my face, I had this scratch that went from the corner of my eye down onto my neck and below my ear. I mean, you should have seen the tree. I messed the tree up right up. Then the next
it was a
day,
lemon tree.
in a very graceful move, you can't see it because I have a lot of makeup on right now. But the hotel toilet, the way the bathroom was situated, was the toilet was right in front of the door. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I didn't want to wake my husband up, so I left the lights off. Went to get up off the toilet, hit my face on the door jamb. I've never had a black eye in my life. I have a wicked black eye. I like don't want to go out in public. I feel like people think I get beat, and like no, I'm just an idiot, and I hurt myself peeing. Like, what's wrong with me? So other than that, BlizzCon without a hitch. It went perfectly. If you guys saw the virtual ticket,
panels, that was awesome.
I did stuff. I hosted. I didn't host. I judged community night with Darren DePaul and Johnny Cruz, which is the voice of Lucio and Reinhardt, and that was just amazing. That was like a really surreal experience, and I was so excited. I was like a hard vote for Jay the Bard. If any of you guys watched, I was obsessed with Jay the Bard, and I like was really.
He joined our Discord. Yeah,
I love him. I feel like we should interview him or something, because he's like so great.
Yeah, we should get like guests on the show. I think that would be fun.
We're like that's one of those things that I keep saying we're working on it, but the real logistics of it is just difficult. Getting someone here at the right time and live, and then it's like, how do you let like a lot of the shows that do that have a third person that's off camera managing cameras and stuff. It's just a lot to do while we're on camera, but we would like.
If anyone would like to volunteer, you're looking for volunteers.
Yeah, well. That'd be, well, I guess not. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I would like to have guests as well. I almost messaged you and was like, we should have Derry on this week, but I don't have a 3-person setup, so I wasn't ready. But this is very much a plan for 2018. I've got 3 weeks to get my life together.
We got it.
We got 3 weeks to get my life together, and then we would like to start having guests on the show, even if it was just for 15 or 20-minute segments to talk. So if you guys are watching this right now or on YouTube or whatever, please leave us comments and let us know who you would like to see on the show, because Wowhead has a lot of friends in the community, and I'm sure they would like to talk to us, I guess, or maybe they don't.
I
don't
hope
know.
so. Please be our friend.
Other than that, I also, other than community night, I hosted a panel that was called Pursuing Your Passion, Living Blizzard. And it was about online content creation. And there was a bunch of streamers. I felt like a little bit of an oddball out because I think there was one podcaster, Garrett Weinzierl, who does the Angry Chicken.
Cool. Yeah.
And then everybody else was like a streamer. And then I was just like, but YouTube.
It's also funny because, like, you know, like I understand that my job is more like unique, but it's just funny how it's like, oh, I can't watch the content creator panel because I'm like running around writing articles, and you know, like, it would be cool if like journalism was, you know, represented on the stage.
Sure.
But
I would have. Well, that would have been my only critique, is that I felt like I would have liked to see. I mean, there's a lot of people who do blogs and theory crafting, and I understand it's not just WoW, and they were representing all games, but it felt very Twitch heavy to me. And I know we're literally on Twitch right now, but there's lots of different ways to create content. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, somebody like Kage, is it Kage or is it Cage? I'm not sure. She draws the Feral Druid.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she is a perfect example of a content creator in the WoW community who I consider very important to our community.
Oh, yeah,
making all these comics and like doing all this stuff and just kind of being a positive force in the community.
Definitely.
I would have loved to have seen someone like that, or like Fabelina or Freenode, someone like that represented, and not just Twitch streamers, because I think Twitch is a little oversaturated, so I think encouraging people that that's the way to go. I think there's just a lot of ways to go, and I feel like people...
Yeah, and I feel like all the content creators can help each other. Like, you know, a lot of streamers will be like, oh, like, what's new today? Let's, like, look up Wowhead's coverage for what we mix. So, like, it would be cool if it's like, hey, you know, like, we help you guys, and then, like, you guys help make the site, and you give us traffic, and then, like, someone like Kage, you know, writes a cool reaction, which then hypes people up to, you know, check out the other content creators. So... I think it's good to show like the more of like the ecosystem of everyone.
It is. I think one of the most important things that wasn't covered in that panel is that it's really important to not make enemies in the community. And that if you are somebody who intends on staying around for a while, it doesn't take many people disliking you to derail your career, really, because it is so much of, oh, I'm done streaming, let's go raid this guy's stream, or hey, I like this video on YouTube and I'm a big YouTuber, did you guys see this? It's so cool. Like, I think that having that sense of community and almost like that sense of family is very important. And when a lot of people go into content creation, they immediately look at it as a competition, when in reality... Yeah,
I've had some weird experiences, no comment. But,
well, we can all compliment each other very well, is where I'm going with that, is I feel like...
Yeah. Even on Wowhead, it's always like, oh, you know, let's have this expert write, like, the economy blog, or, you know, like, highlight an artist each month, or, like, a cosplay thing, and it's like, okay, you know, I'm not great at writing raid guides, so, like, that boss will write them, and, you know, we try to give, like, everyone...
Well, even, like, Lulaboo, is it, like, I mean, Wowhead features tons of streamers. You have, Novel has a lore segment every week. Lulaboo has the cooking stream every week. Like, Towley and Sloopbag use a lot of Wowhead resources. Fat Boss writes guides. I make video content. Like, it takes a village to raise a child, you know? So I think one of the biggest takeaways from that panel that I don't think we covered was that it's really just important to, like, actually make friends and like respect the people that do it, because they're not your enemies. And I feel like so many times, don't you guys boop each other when I'm talking about friendship. Gosh.
Yeah, and I think that's like, it's really important. The Wowhead party tried to show that too. Like, we helped highlight, you know, the other parties, you know, taking place, and we tried to have a good variety of people signing, you know, autographs who do all different things.
Yeah, there were
a lot of people, you know, ask for line skip, and it's like, you know, hey, like, you know, you're not a streamer, but like, you write a Wowhead guide, or like, you're big with another game, like, sure, you know, like, you can, you know, feel special at the party.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
absolutely. And like, so that was a thing. If you guys have the virtual ticket, both of those things that I did are still available to watch if you want to. I think I did a good job. This year I've been trying. One of my biggest failures in the past has been I would get my feelings hurt when people would criticize me, and it wasn't necessarily that it wasn't constructive criticism. I was just a little like, it's when you try really hard and then people are like, you did this, that, or that wrong. It's hard to say, you're right, let me do this better. And this year I went through the Reddit thread about me at the Q&A, And I tried to filter out all of the horrifically bad words, but a lot of the feedback I got involved, you know, maybe talking a little too much, maybe speaking out of turn. And I felt like in my judging and in my panels this year, I actively tried very hard to immediately stop talking if someone else started to, like, if someone talked over me, instead of like competing with them, I just stopped talking completely. And if I went to say something and someone else started talking, I just let them talk. And I tried to be a little more concise in the things I did. So despite the fact that a lot of times criticism is not so constructive, I did really try hard to be constructive with the criticism.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. That's awesome learning experience.
Yeah, it only took me 30 years.
It's also cool you had like two kind of different panels, so you could, you know, like you're doing
and I thought
things, you know,
this
like,
is, you know, while we're on this show, I feel like this is a good time to talk about it. Let me be the first person to say Jenny did amazing at the Q&A, and I think her Q&A was better than mine. Like, I just, like, I think the format that they did was way better, because one of the biggest critiques I got about the Q&A was that there was somebody in line to ask a question. I thought we were out of time. I was told to end the panel with my own question. That was how Jay Allen Brack told me to end the panel. So the camera changed from him to me. I asked my question, and then we still had time, and it was like a panic moment. And they instead this year did all of the people in person ask their questions first, and then they flipped to the internet at the end, and they had Jenny, rather than having her give input, they had her not give input. They just had her sort of facilitate the conversation.
Yeah, I felt like they had a different persona. It's like, okay, then like ask the questions, while they were like, hey, Pams, were like, can you like
they
be
asked
sassy?
Yeah, they asked they specifically
so,
said we want, like, Jay Allenbrecht. I should stop saying they, because everybody else was like, oh god, Jay, why? And Jay was like, this is going to be awesome. And I agree with Jay. I think it was awesome. I just think that this is a good way that my husband described it to me. A lot of the people who look forward to the Q&A and tune into the Q&A are tuning in because they want answers about something they're disappointed about. They're not tuning in to get answers about something that they love. They're asking questions about things that they would like to be different or better. So and
it's always the most popular panel on WoW. Like, people actually get to see the devs, and they feel like, oh my god, they're paying attention to me. So they don't want like you as a non-dev's feedback. They want to hear the devs.
Which was what they had asked me to do is they asked me, when I was the Q&A moderator, they asked me to represent the audience. If they give you an answer and you don't like the answer, ask for more. And then, you know, it was my first time on a stage that was that big. I was nervous, so sometimes when I asked more, I got a little rambly, because it's very panicky being up there for the very first time ever. I mean, I had done a panel at San Diego Comic-Con that was about 2,000 people, and I'm pretty sure that Hall D holds like 20,000 people. Just to give you guys a little perspective of, like, I couldn't see past the first, like, 100 rows. Like, 100 rows. Like, it was just, so, you know, I love the way they did the panel this year, and I'm so glad the internet is happy with Jenny, because I would not wish anybody get the amount of anger that I got over the Q&A, and I thought she did a great job, and especially considering I'm pretty sure that was her first time hosting anything ever. Like, I had hosted some small things. Good. That's crazy to get up on that stage and, like, keep your composure, and that's the first. I mean, she did amazing. So I love her. I'm so happy for her. And I also liked her outfit. She wore like this Horde Alliance jewel toned thing. It looked great.
I liked the velvet. That was very cool.
Yeah, she looked really great. So yes, for all the people asking, I thought in general they took a lot of lessons they learned from previous BlizzCons and applied them. It seems like this year they were really going all out with the production value and
more panels on the virtual ticket. Less WoW panels fighting with each other. That was super weird how the Warcraft movie was at the same time as Legion. What's next?
Well, especially since they didn't, like, the Warcraft movie one was Hush Hush Secret Secret.
Yeah.
So everybody went to it, and then there was nothing new. So it was like a very weird thing. Like, we missed what's next in WoW to watch a panel that we learned nothing.
Also, like, the extra space was great because the convention center had expanded. So like Hearthstone just had like everything in its own room. You know, the Dark Moon Fair was bigger. The Diversity Lounge actually looked out over onto the Disneyland fireworks. So that was like a very cool experience, you know, to go watch the fireworks on the balcony.
The security, I don't know if you've mentioned this, but the security at BlizzCon this year was insane. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way.
No, I felt very good
with the climate of our world right now and how people are crazy and crazy things happen, and I wish it didn't, but it did. it felt comforting that when you're in this place where there are 60, 70,000 people, they were ready for anything, man. I mean, they checked every bag that walked in. They had dogs, like, sniffing just constantly. I probably saw 20 different dogs. And on top of the convention center, did you see the snipers?
Oh, yeah.
There were snipers on top. Like, try anything, anyone at BlizzCon, because, like, it would have been shut down so quickly. Like, it was... just a huge shout out to Blizzard and whoever else, because the security was phenomenal at BlizzCon this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, snipers and doggos. You heard it here,
What other
folks.
stuff do we have?
So much.
Oh. So there was a Pepe meetup. We don't have pictures of this, but I'm excited because I actually had time to go to the Pepe meetup, and there was, like, I don't know, 50 Pepes, and, like, someone actually dressed up as Pepe. And my friend that got me tickets to CatCon dressed up as, like, Pepe with a gigantic cape. And yeah, like, Jordan just sort of, like, lies down in front of all of these Pepes, and everyone shares their Pepe and their favorite Pepe costume. And someone actually made a Pepe that is, like, can be controlled with his phone, and he cheats and he moves and he tilts.
Well, there was someone in this awesome, like, Pepe I saw a Pepe full-on cosplay. Then I saw another girl who was wearing, like, a poncho cape thing.
No, she's my friend. She's Junicorn. I think her Twitter is private, though. But yeah, she was Pepe in the poncho.
Yeah, I saw another guy who was, like, in a full Pepe costume.
Oh yeah, I have this picture of, like, she's on one end, the Pepe guy's on the other end. There's 2 rows of Pepes by the fountains, and then, like, Jordan is, like, lying in front. And it was hilarious because the Overwatch Blizzard team scheduled their team picture at the same time. There was a mix-up, so it's like, okay, like, line up all the Pepes in orange, then have, like, the Overwatch people run in to take the picture, and, like, Overwatch, their jerseys were orange and white too, so it's like, oh, they match the Pepes.
Just a lot
and
going
then, like,
on.
Yeah, so it was fun. I'm glad I went there. Also, one sec. Blizzard did these patches this year, collecting, but they also had, like, game-specific ones, and I think all the WoW people got this Pepe patch.
Yep.
So, like, Pepe was, like, very big on world domination at BlizzCon.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It was pretty great. I also loved the guy who came out and he was cosplayed as a priest, but then he had a Pepe, and they mentioned that the Pepe was cosplayed as Malfurion. Yeah, like, on stage, he walked out, and he was in full cosplay, and then he randomly just had a Pepe with Malfurion horns. And the announcer, it was Ben Brode was the announcer, who, by the way, best BlizzCon announcer ever. Just Ben
That
Brode
was amazing with, like, the whole, like, choose your own path. That was amazing.
He's just the best. I feel like he could come out and read the dictionary, and people would love it and him. He's just, like, the best guy. I love him. Yeah. But anyways, so that was a blast. There's also the Shadow plushie, which I believe I have a picture
of. It went live earlier today.
Yeah, it did go live today. I don't have a pic. Well, hold on. I can add a picture. I can make this happen. Trust. Shadow.
Yeah, I will talk. It is he is $30. 18 will go to the American Red Cross or International Federation between now until the end of the year. And he has a light up rune on him. And this is only the purple version. A lot of people, of course, want the orange version, but I think they were saying that with the way it's set up, it didn't make sense to have him be reversible. It wouldn't work out. But yeah, he has a cute light up rune, and he has posable ears, and he comes in a collector's box.
I love when they have posable ears. That's how the Frostwolf cubs are.
Yep. So I wonder if we're gonna kind of like eating him.
Yeah. We're gonna kind of like sprint through other games because we've already been going now for 2 hours.
Also, there's a Sylvanas statue.
There's a Sylvanas statue. It's very expensive, but she looks like her new version, like the version from BlizzCon, and it's gorgeous. Yeah. So if you're a collector of stuff like that, definitely check it out because it's beautiful. Okay, so in Hearthstone, the new expansion was announced. It's Kobolds and Catacombs. It's coming in December, available for pre-order now. There's a new game board that is based on the theme of Kobolds and Catacombs. There's 9 legendary weapons, 1 for each class. There's also new dungeon runs, which is a solo experience, which is repeatable. You kind of build your deck as you go, and if you die, you have to start over with the same basic 10 cards. This is a free experience. They specifically said you don't need to have like all the cards you earn while you're doing it. So this was kind of like, if you guys follow like Trump on Twitch, I'm sure he's excited about this because he's known as the mayor of Value Town. Also, the BlizzCon free loot was a golden legendary of Marin the Fox, but all players get that card starting this Monday. So if you log into Hearthstone, you'll get that legendary card for free now.
Just not the
golden version if you didn't go to BlizzCon. In the world of Heroes of the Storm, and I will show you the cinematic for this because it has Alexstrasza and it's worth it, but in the world of Heroes of the Storm, we got a bunch of quality of life changes, including performance-based matchmaking. Instead of win-loss, it's based on your own personal score, and that will roll out in December. We're also getting camera improvements with a bigger field of vision. There's a new stealth rework, so there'll be like these silhouettes that'll make stealth characters easier to spot. Also, keeps and forts will reveal stealth. The towers are getting buffed, which I think this was the biggest problem with Heroes of the Storm, is that the towers were not powerful enough. So there's going to be infinite ammo, and all the standalone towers have been removed. That's because characters like Murky and Abathur really took advantage of them, and other than those two heroes, they were sort of useless. So they're getting rid of those. Fortresses are also going to have True Sight, which will reveal stealth. Regen globes are also getting a rework, and I think this is a great change. So allied globes will turn into neutral globes if they're not picked up within 4 seconds. Then they'll disappear 4 seconds after that. So if you bully your opponent out of lane, you can steal their health packs too, which I think is great. Merc camps will now have unique benefits, sort of like in the jungle of League of Legends. How I don't know how the jungle works now, but it used to get blue buff and red buff.
It got League got a big change.
And then so I just started like randomly. I decided to install League and give it a try, and like the day I did that, they came out with a whole new set of changes. So I'm just bewildered. But anyways, Heroes of the Storm will now have merc camps with unique benefits to make it more strategic which ones you're killing. There'll also be voice chat integration, and we're getting 2 new heroes, Alexstrasza and Hanzo. And on that note, check out the video on that.
Impressive, Archer. But you'll need to do better than that.
You have no idea what I am capable of.
Good. Because you must be ready for anything. You show promise, Hanzo. Well done. But greater challenges still await us.
I believe we are ready.
It's time to find out.
Hold on, let me put sound back on. There we go. So I was in love with this cinematic when it came out. I actually filmed a reaction and haven't uploaded it, and I know it's kind of late, but I might end up uploading it anyways because I was so obsessed. So it's like, I was so obsessed with Alexstrasza, I didn't notice Hanzo. Like, that's how this all went. I was like, Alexstrasza, Bay! Alexstrasza's Bay! Freaking out and did not give a crap about Hanzo. Like, you know what it is? From playing Overwatch, I've just completely filtered Hanzo mains out of my life. They don't exist to me. Nice. So, like, I just did not care about Hanzo at all. But when she grabs
her skins, like Dark Queen Alexstrasza, it's like sealed away by the Star Princess, and she's finally broken free. And I love her skins. She's awesome.
I agree.
Like a guy. Yeah.
I totally agree. It was amazing, and I'm really, really glad that we got her. I don't really care about Hanzo. She looks amazing, and she's a support.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing that's going on. In the world of StarCraft, there is a new co-op commander, which if you follow StarCraft at all, this is actually super interesting because the new co-op commander, they're calling it 2-in-1 because it's Mira Han and Matt Horner. But Mira Han and Matt Horner are married in StarCraft, but she tricked him into marrying her. Like, he sat down at a high-stakes poker game and won and didn't realize that her hand in marriage was the prize.
Oh.
And he is quoted as saying, I wouldn't have played the game if I'd known what I was signing up for.
That's awkward.
So they have this really, like, weird, like, they don't like each other, but, like, she's not all bad. Like, she's, like, a mercenary, and she definitely is not a hero, but I wouldn't call her a villain either, because when push came to shove, like, she helped Raynor and she helped the Terran army. So she's wanted in like 15 different star systems for terrorism. And my cat is being so cute behind me. It's unreal.
It's hilarious because, like, during the cinematic, I'm like, Bright Paw, baby, Bright Paw, hoping he'd, like, come over, and nope, he's just like, no.
He's over you. Like, my cats are stealing the spotlight today. But so that is the new co-op commander. It's actually Mira Han and Matt Horner. There's also a new co-op mission called Part and Parcel, and this will also introduce new improved co-op gameplay, with the big feature being that everyone has access to commanders to level 5, all of the commanders. And then, of course, StarCraft 2 is now free to play. Everyone will get Wings of Liberty, and if you already own Wings of Liberty, they'll give you Heart of the Swarm for free. So that's cool if you're into that sort of thing. No Diablo announcements. Actually, zero Diablo announcements. Sorry, Diablo fans. But Overwatch got a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a couple videos to show you guys. So the first one I'm going to show you is the new skins that are coming out, and then after that I will show you the map they're coming out with.
Oh, that's so cool.
So here is the new skins right here.
Yep.
So this obviously is Immortal Orisa, based on a Protoss from StarCraft. This is Magni Bronzebeard Torbjorn. So good. So good. Next up is, I'm going to sneeze. This is Widowmaker Nova. Which we already have. I'm going to sneeze again, I think. Oh, maybe not. Which we already yeah, she's in Heroes of the Storm. Then we have Blackhand Doomfist, which I would not have thought of this, but I love it. I love it.
I love all the WoW overlap.
I love all of them, really. Like, the Barbarian Zarya is so good, and, like, it's probably her best skin. Oh my god, and Butcher Roadhog is amazing. He was basically just made to be Butcher. So good.
Fresh meat. I love that.
So good. And then this is Crusader Reinhardt, as we saw him in the Honor and Glory cinematic with all that hair. And the very last one is Eco Point May, who was debuted in her cinematic at Gamescom this year. So
can we also say that I hope Brigitte's shirt that is in the cinematic becomes sold on the gear shop?
I know.
Because that would be amazing.
I know. So those skins are all going to be releasing with a new map that comes out in early 2018, which is called Blizzard World. Check it out, guys.
Where you took your first steps in Azeroth. Where you confronted the Lord of Terror himself. Where you spawned your first Zergling rush. Sometimes, epic memories can only be made in an epic world. Your adventure, your community, your memories. See them come alive in your world. Blizzard World.
Epic fun detected.
Well met. Stay a while and listen to the fireworks. Come and visit Blizzard World. New adventures are waiting for you.
I can't wait to get on some rides.
So that was obviously the trailer for Blizzard World, which is a new hybrid map coming to Overwatch in early 2018, along with all of those skins, which are themed to other Blizzard games. And then finally, we'll be getting a new hero. Her name is Moira. She's a support hero with leech abilities, and she is a member of Talon, formerly a member of Blackwatch. Her launch skins are called Oasis and Glam. One of them obviously has the Oasis feel like Symmetra. The other one is very David Bowie. And she's actually available to play on the PTR now, which anybody can get on the PTR and try her out if that's something you would like.
Can we go back to Blizzard World for a second?
Yes.
Because like several things on like, so apparently they were giving away like art posters of the Blizzard World map, which I did not know about, and I'm super sad I missed out on them. Like, it's amazing. There's like the Hearthstone Tavern and like
is that like the map?
Area.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
was like the Disney World style map.
Yeah, and like the Lurky parking lot and the
I would
Murky
really
parking
like that.
lot.
Excuse
and
me.
Imperial's Fall.
I was
so
busy working.
Apparently they gave away 1,000 of them are at some signing, and of course they're on eBay for $1,000, and I'm just like, really? Like, come on.
Let me tell you how much I can't even get into talking about pin trading and patch trading because like people were unreasonable.
I linked you the image if you want to pull it up. But it's so cool. There's like Murloc Island, Snacks Ramis, Flight to Duskwood, the Hatchery Petting Zoo, Quarter Cabin. It's
I'm sorry, my cat is
Terracial.
meowing at me. Like, she's just chain spam meowing at me.
Yeah. Anyway, it's super cool, and I want this to be on the Blizzard shop, and I would like a poster
I
of
would
it.
like the whole park to be real. Like, I got trolled super hard. Like, if you watch my reaction video, when he says, how about a Blizzard theme park?
Oh, you were like, oh.
I dropped my phone. I, like, nearly burst into tears, and it took me, like, 10 seconds to process that what I was seeing was not real because I got trolled so hard.
It's so good.
Thanks, Jeff Kaplan. Thanks. So, do we have any questions that came in?
So a lot of people asked us questions, but most of them were answered as we got to them. Like, Ghost was like, is there listed classes that the allied races can play? So I'm reading this quickly. Apologies if I don't mention your question because I think that was something we answered.
Yeah.
Arrow Hydra says, did they give any timeline for the release of Battle for Azeroth? They did not. They said 735 PTR in a few weeks and, beta early next year. My guess is that they're going to keep staggering content out. We know Before the Storm is coming in May of 2018, so my guess is maybe that's like the pre-patch, and then we get, it in the fall maybe. Winchester says, do you think we will ever get a full-on 2-hour cinematic movie from Blizzard? I would love that, and I think Blizzard has like a stake in some movie company now, like that changed after the Warcraft movie, so I don't know. I think it's possible. I would love it if they had like a viewing party to see all the cinematics like they did for Overwatch. I think that would be very cool. Basic Mod says, I did not get any info on catch-up mechanisms they may have mentioned. They didn't really get into it, but they always
we're pretty far away from, we're pretty far away from that.
Yeah. Gemini Sweet says, which of the allied races are you most excited about or most excited to try? So, like, I'm torn because I'm like, oh, the Nightborn, like, Perk came from Suramar, she can be a Nightborn, but oh no, they're Horde. So I guess I'd have to say Void Elves, and maybe playing a class of Night Elf can't be like a Warlock.
I am excited for High Mountain Tauren, and I don't know, I like all of them. Is all of them an appropriate answer? Because that's how I feel.
Yeah. Night Swifty says, did you have an article for the Void Elf racial passive active ability? So we actually have an article drafted, sort of compiling all the info. It's not live yet because one of the details is from the method interview, which isn't up yet, but let me pull it up. So I think Polygon, this page overloads. Polygon, in an interview, Blizzard revealed that Void Elves will have a short-range teleport. I don't know anything else about their racials, but if you have anything, let us know and we can put it on the front page. Winchester says, do we ever find out what Vol'jin meant when he said what he did to Sylvanas before he died? We don't know, but maybe that will be coming soon if, Vol'jin has more story.
Yeah.
Northern Man says, how will class buffs like Battle Shout, in your opinion, affect Raid and Mythic Plus combinations? So I actually asked this in my interview. Maybe it was a method one. I don't know. Dari was like, I need help. So I just sort of did 2 interviews. And I was like, hey, so, you know, what's going to happen in Mythic Plus if everyone has a unique buff and then, like, you only have 5 people in Mythic Plus? And they're like, we're keeping an eye on it. You know, that's a great question. So didn't really get an answer, but I'm definitely advocating that concern because I think it's valid. Let's see. Macon Bear says, do you think the Sea Priests are working with the old gods to protect their navy? Too many tentacles for my liking. So I am full on tinfoil hat. Yes. But, you know, there are, you know, a lot of the interviews when people asked about zones were just like, things get bad, but we can't tell you how. But I'm fully team Sea Priest, old god, evilness, horrible things happen to the ocean team. That's what I think happens. So, basic mods, why haven't they done vanilla time walking? I don't know if it's like...
It's probably because Classic WoW is coming out.
Yeah, so I think it's that, and also, like, maybe those dungeons have, like, weird tech that makes them less scalable. I don't know. But I think it would be cool to see them. When does 735 come out? We don't know. My guess would be early 2018. Night Swifty again. Are artifacts removed completely, or you still have them while leveling new class in Legion? What will happen with the Underlight Angler? I think Wowpedia asked about Underlight Angler, and they said they didn't know. In the demo, we were not using artifact weapons, so my guess is, I don't know, maybe
it'll probably be in the event leading up to the expansion.
Maybe like the artifact weapons, they like help save the world free or help Silithus or something. Let's see. Everything else I think we pretty much addressed in some form during the show. Also, last minute reminder, get your prize for Shadow plush. Keyword was Adorbs. I think Sass will be picking that very soon.
Yeah, he already picked the winner.
Oh, cool. Okay.
She already claimed it. I see her talking. Her name is Krista Lockie.
Cool. Yay, grats.
Yay, grats.
So, yeah, we had a super long show.
Yes.
I just want to thank everyone for both watching the show and also using Wowhead's coverage over the weekend. You know, for like, like our news gets bigger every year, but it's, you know, pretty much stable year to year. And this year we actually like tripled the amount of users and like page views of people tuning in to look at our news. At one point, we had so many people during the Q&A that the site died. And, you know, like I just feel really touched by that because, you know, we work so hard and always try to make BlizzCon well and try to reach as many people as possible. And like, that's really a huge increase. And like, I'm just like so grateful that like everyone was appreciating our hard work. So thank you all for, you know, whether you're the Discord hook or you're following us on Twitter or, you know, leaving comments or just sharing it with your friends. We really appreciate all the support that you showed us this past BlizzCon.
Same. Sorry, my cat is just, they're so over the fact that they haven't got, their dinner is 23 minutes late, Perk.
Oh, so Brightpaw, I decided to sleep in, and so he wakes me up at 4 a.m. because the sprinklers go on, and I'm like, go away. And then I sleep in, and then I hear all this weird noise, and I look, and his food bowl is like filled with like plastic forks and spoons. I'm just like, okay, I get the message. You want to eat something, so yeah.
Well, my cat's like, one of my cats just came over and took a bite out of the toast that I have. The cats and the dog, like, Tychus ate before this, but he finished the
I'm really scared what Brightpaw is up to. Like,
he's
I don't
very
know.
quiet. It's concerning. Like, I feel like you're going to go out there and, like,
yeah,
I don't know what he's going to be into. Earlier, Tychus was going ballistic. Tychus is my little dog, if you guys have seen him. I don't know what he did, but he, like, buried his bone so deep in the couch that it, like, fell through and underneath because he, like, pushed the... So then he was, like, trying to squeeze his fat body underneath the couch, so he got stuck, and, like, his legs were sticking out, but his front end was under the couch, and he was just, like, wiggling a lot, and I had no idea what he was trying to accomplish. He knocked over one of my studio lights, and then he came out, finally, with, like, a bone in his mouth, very satisfied. The couch cushions were everywhere, the blankets, like, he had just made a complete disaster of everything, and he was so proud of himself for finding this bone that he probably lost a month ago. Dogs, man. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning into our extra long BlizzCon extravaganza, Wowhead Weekly. Congratulations to our winner. A big thank you to everybody who subscribes to us here on Twitch and uses our emotes. We really appreciate that. Thanks so much to everybody who watches us on YouTube and embedded in Wowhead or just shows up to lurk around in the chat. We really appreciate you guys. And a big shout out to all of our Wowhead Premium subscribers. For those of you who do not know, Wowhead Premium is a monthly subscription service to Wowhead. It costs $1 per month or $9 for the whole year, and it can be gifted to friends. It has all sorts of benefits and perks, like you talk in a special color when you're in the comments section. You can track quests. There's all sorts of stuff you can do, but the biggest perk, of course, is that there are no ads on desktop or mobile as long as you're signed in. So if you really like Wowhead's content, if you use it a lot and you want to support the site and also get rid of ads, $1 a month, $9 a year, and you're all set. You can head over to wowhead.com/premium to purchase it for yourself or to purchase it for a friend. We do Wowhead Weekly every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We did it on Thursday today because we wanted to make sure that all craft had no problems. We didn't want to be streaming at the same time as them. That's no fun. We want to support each other and not compete. So we moved to Thursday to accommodate them this week, but thank you guys so much for supporting them and for supporting us. We really appreciate it, and we'll be back to our regular time next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and then we upload the episodes to youtube.com/wowhead and embed them to wowhead.com the next day. We're going to go, but I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you had fun at BlizzCon or watching BlizzCon or just being in the vicinity of BlizzCon, and we will see you next time, guys. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.